Keep that in mind when you add a new compound in, when you change your dosages, and the inflammation that your body just immediately sends to the acne is reduced. Hey yo, good morning YouTube. Welcome to a super gloomy Monday morning. I am just getting over a cold, as you can tell from coming off. That's just the name of the game. But today we are going to be going over steroids and acne. Now in 2025, with the resources and the knowledge that we have readily available, you should relatively never be breaking out in extreme levels of acne ever again. So today I'm going to be going over the 3 most important things that you need to be taking to prevent acne from even showing up in the first place. With that said, it's time to take our peptides, go do 30 minutes of cardio in the gym, and get this day started.
Dude, I do not understand why people still buy Audis. They're just so fucking terrible. They're the most garbage, overpriced, piece of shit fucking cars.
Alright guys, so morning routine done. I really don't feel we're looking that bad. However, it has only been 19 days. It's gonna be about another week, a week and a half until I book my blood work.
Any Battlefield 6 tonight? Yeah, probably. Maybe. We might play that other game, Baby Steps.
Because then my test levels should be relatively low, but still in the natural range. Every time that I would come off steroids in the past, I'd always just stop dieting and like barely train, and I would look something like this. This time, however, I'm just gonna really put an emphasis on getting my protein in, making sure we get to the gym 4 to 5 days a week, and just keep an overall leaner, more aesthetic physique. It is a lot easier for me to put on muscle in the future when it is time to go back on than try to lose 30 pounds of body fat. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking this time. Let's get into the main topic of this video, which is acne. Now, I've had pretty bad acne, but honestly, I've been seeing the industry get worse and worse and worse. Acne is a horror story in 90% of people's lives. It destroys your self-confidence, your self-worth. It destroys the physique that you've tried so hard to build. Now, this is not to put anyone down, because I want to use these as an example so that it does not happen to you. Now, this is the first type of acne that I want to go over, because this is the most extreme
These
case.
people are just
this
retarded.
can happen without the use of steroids. It is crazy to even say that, but there are countless pictures and Reddit posts online of people that have never taken hormonal drugs that have broken out like this, because it is an acne condition.
Dodo donated $2. Let me see.
I met my friend Sam in the COVID lockdown in December 2020. I actually hired him to be my video editor for this channel.
I'm not particularly interested in watching this, because we all know he's just gonna lie and it's just gonna be some gay fag shit.
I'm on self-improvement. I'm in how to fix these kinds of issues. Glasses and cigars, and try to buy it because I promise you it's going to be good. Saying it didn't work for him, which he has the right to do. That's fair enough. You know, you have to. But that he knew that people would think about me when he was saying, you've been sold lies about self.
Okay, this is, yeah, so this is just pure cope. Yeah, so he is just a fucking liar and a drama queen. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
That is called acne congoblata, or however you pronounce it, which is basically just a severe acne condition. However, this condition is mostly triggered by hormone disruption and overstimulation. So what that means is if you have 500 milligrams of testosterone with 42 estrogen, give or take, let's just pretend, and you start taking 500 milligrams of testosterone and you blast that testosterone up to 3,000, 4,000, that massive hormone fluctuation is going to overload the oil into your pores, causing your pores to completely clog up. Now, for a lot of people, you will just get tiny little acne around the face or those specific hormonal regions. Now, a lot of the reason why you see acne come on the bottom of the jaw or around the mouth is because that is where most hormonal acne will form. That's also why people's backs get a lot worse than their shoulders or chests, because that's where most hormonal acne will start to form. Now, in this extreme case, when there is so much oil buildup that the oil has nowhere to go, it will...
Dodo donated $2. Let me see. Taliban accuses Pakistan's ISIS, or ISI, of orchestrating... Okay, I think that's a typo. Orchestrating ISIS-K attacks on Iran and Russia. Taliban spokesperson accused Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence. Oh, okay, ISI. Orchestrating ISIS, Khorasan, ISIS-K attacks in the 2024 bombings of Kerman, Iran. Mujahid claimed that both attacks were coordinated on Pakistani soil. Like, that is believable. Well, we know Pakistan was helping Al-Qaeda. Like, there's a reason why Osama bin Laden was hiding there. So that's believable. Trump talking to Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. Silent Hill left today, right?
This is everything I made for my friend's going away party. I didn't make many dishes, but I was gonna make everything from scratch, from the sauces to the paste, so it definitely took a few hours. I first made this vegan sambal paste from scratch. The key here is to really fry the paste until it thickens with a deep reddish hue. Then I made the vegan mince with garlic, vegan pork mince, a few seasonings and sauces, and added some cornstarch slurry to thicken the mixture. Then I boiled pan mi noodles until they were thick and chewy. Then it was time to prepare one of my favorite tofu dishes, salted egg yolk tofu. I broke it up into chunks, tossed it with cornstarch, and pan fried it to crisp. Then it was time to make this super creamy, rich, and aromatic sauce with minced garlic, red chilies, curry leaves, oat milk, and coconut cream, and a final touch of turmeric, black salt, and nutritional yeast. Added the tofu chunks in, then it was time to plate. I rinsed the noodles in some boiling water before adding them to the bowls, then I mixed in some sesame oil and dark soy sauce, after which I topped it with blanched bok choy, vegan mince, and sambal paste. My friend was actually moving to London from Singapore, so I wanted to recreate iconic dishes you can find at Singaporean hawker centers that she'll definitely miss, enjoy, and follow for more.
I don't like those noodles. I don't like a lot of noodles. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Will form that cystic bubbles, which causes the body to have an instant inflammatory response, which explodes it to that cystic acne. It's technically just that little blockage, but then your body freaks out, creating the inflammation, which then breaks the follicular walls, which then combines 2 or 3 or 4 of these little acne blockages into a massive abscess. And that is what you are seeing here. But even with a lot of the pros that we are seeing in today's era of bodybuilding, such as Sam Sulak, there's a video here that his skin has never looked worse than it does right now. And I would also argue that Nick Walker is in the same ballpark as this. Now, Nick...
Yeah, dude, it's probably because he eats like shit. We've all seen what Sam eats.
Walker is a genetic freak because these athletes' drug protocols are getting so out of hand for the growth phases. That's obviously just causing too many hormonal disruptions in their body to function in normalities. So they are breaking out like crazy. Again, a lot of these IFBB pros are genetic freaks. You have to remember this. They can take double the amount of steroids you can take and usually not break out. But every single person has
CDG Donny Tellers, how do you know you don't like fleshlights if you never tried one before? So you never tried one but don't like it. I don't care, dude.
that limit that their body no longer can withstand, and you get extreme cases like the case I showed you before. That is why when you are starting your testosterone cycle, less is always better, because you don't know if you're gonna respond like that. 300 to 500 milligrams of testosterone should be your first cycle. You should not be adding in any other compounds.
No. You should be starting with 20 milligrams a day, which would be 140 for the week. And you should run that for at least a month. And then, you know, escalate the dose. Yeah, if you start off with 300, like 350, you're just asking to get side effects.
You should not be doing anything other than those dosages, because preventing or fixing the side effects that you will get when you start on that dosage is a hell of a lot easier than fixing it from anything else. Now, if you are prone to acne, before I even get into the products and tips to help, you should be tapering up and down your dosages. So if you are going to start on 500...
New peers vid with Destiny in studio. Destiny heavily criticizes the Trump ceasefire deal. Watch please.
Yeah, we can watch that. We'll watch that next. Like, the ceasefire deal is kind of stupid. Like, I'm assuming from Israel's position, Hamas is probably going to violate the ceasefire agreement, and they'll be able to kill or capture all the terrorists they let out anyway, so... Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
100 milligrams of testosterone. I would do 2 weeks at 250. I would do another 2 weeks at 375 or 400. And then not until your hormones kind of reach that.
It takes at least a month if you're running an enthate or cypionate to reach peak hormone concentrations. So I don't know why you'd... Like, by the way, this advice is coming from a guy who's had huge acne issues, so, like, it's no wonder why he had acne problems. Like, he's starting off with 500 milligrams test his first cycle. GD, you donated $2.
Just dumpster dog.
Yeah, great.
Stable level, you go to 500. You want to progress it up so everything stays in a perfect range, and the same thing goes when you are coming off. If you are on 500 milligrams of testosterone, you should just not stop everything if you are prone to acne. Now, I also want to throw a disclaimer out, because this is one of the things that I've tried in the past that did not work for me, as well as Sam Sulak has done in the past, Larry Wheels. Every bodybuilder that's been open about it, I think, has posted about it, but it is Accutane. Now, Accutane is probably one of the most harmful drugs you can possibly take, other than Anadrol, Tren, or Halotestin, on your body. However, it doesn't always work. For me, I had to get my nose cauterized 2 months in, and it was supposed to be a 4-month cycle, and I could not finish because it would dry my face out so much. And living in Canada, I would get these crazy nosebleeds that would not stop. I had to go to the hospital, get my nose cauterized, and they took me off of it completely. When you take steroids, when you take external exogenous testosterone, that does triple the oil production in a lot of people's skin. So even if you did an Accutane cycle and you did not completely kill off that oil production, there's a high chance that you are still going to break out, because killing off the pore completely is a very, very hard, long process to do. And you see Larry Wheels still bleeding from acne prone spots during his powerlifting, even after blasting Accutane cycles. Now, a lot of less severe acne, such as these, the normal case acne in a lot of steroid bodybuilders' use, can be now fixed by the following 3 to 4 products. Now, I don't want to make this a promo video, but obviously a high quality bar of soap. This is the one that I designed. You can use any high quality bar of soap you want, but you want one that ideally will dry out your skin a little bit.
Yeah, I had a buddy who had acne problems on testosterone, and I recommended it, and apparently it works really well.
Like I said, all of the cystic and bad acne causes is from oil buildup. Now, this activated black charcoal and sea mud, again, find whatever product works for you, reduces the redness and also reduces the inflammatory response to your body, so it looks better than it actually is. What makes these cases so bad is that it gets so red, so inflamed, and so infected that it just looks ill. But the second product that is going to change your skin forever, and I was not a believer up until the last couple weeks, which is GHK-CU. This blue goo that you are going to inject sub-Q into your body, or apply topically, or get your esthetician to do microneedling with, is going to completely change the skin game. This will protect you from the inside out. This literally covers you from 4 different angles from inside to outside your body. So right now I'm doing 10 milligrams a day of this, which seems like a lot, but it isn't really, because I break it up into 4 smaller shots throughout the day. So the first thing that this helps
It sounds like it'd be expensive.
is the overall collagen production that your skin produces. You've heard collagen probably a billion times. Skin, hair, nails. This is basically just your super
I just got a
collagen
brand new 2025 Kia K4 GT line in white. Dirt fucking cheap for all the features I got too. Kia is best bang for your buck in the US right now, hands down.
How much did you pay for that? Was it used? I had a Kia. They're okay. I've had some issues with the car. Some of their sensors are bad. So I don't know. Thanks for the donation though, retard. Like, they've gotten better. They used to be absolute fucking shit buckets.
stimulator that will drastically improve your hair, skin, nails. The elastation, like the elasticness of your skin, is going to get a hell of a lot tighter, firmer, which is going to reduce the wrinkles, the age spots. Basically, almost every skin blemish you have, it is going to try to reduce. Even scars or acne marks, this is a huge product that works from the inside out to help level out and fill up those indented scars, which I've noticed a huge difference on my back already. Now I'm doing almost site injections. I'm doing 4 injections. Usually I do a couple in my chest, a couple in my shoulders, and then I'll get my girlfriend to kind of do my traps. Now, obviously you don't have to do spot. You can just do this sub-Q into your stomach. I'm just doing an experiment to see if it will help specific areas that it is closely injected to, because there isn't a ton of studies on this done on humans yet. This also has accelerated tissue healing properties. So like I told you, when you get extreme acne, it inflames and sometimes rips those follicular walls. This will make sure that those walls come back and the inflammation that your body just immediately sends to the acne is reduced. So the acne is going to look a lot less aggressive and fix itself a lot quicker. It also aids in creating a lot new blood vessels, more blood flow that was destroyed by those acne spots. And it also helps with the overall skin hydration. So obviously we are going to be using products that help dry our skin out, but you don't want dry skin because that will also cause more irritation. So if you can dry it out, but also keep it hydrated in the proper way, obviously not by just having oily skin, you should, in essence, be able to relatively defeat acne altogether with a clean bar of soap and GHKU. Now, two other causing more acne if you are genetically prone to having bad acne.
Thanks for the arm training advice earlier. I can do weighted chin-ups with 2 plates for...
Jenk is still convinced the pro-Palestine protesters are peaceful.
Oh, jeez.
I wanted to...
I'll take a look at that. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. I can do weighted chin-ups with 2 plates for 6, still have 15-inch arms. Well, again, you can try using different rep ranges. You can either try doing like fairly high rep ranges, so like let's say sets of 15 or more, or you could try doing very low, so like around sets of 4 to 5, and see what works better for you, if that, you know, does anything. But it could just be an issue of like you just need more volume total.
Update you on our Crowdsourcing the Revolution project, and we have a bunch of great updates that I love. So a number of you guys had suggestions. For example, somebody suggested, hey, why don't you guys reach out to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund? Cenk interviewed that guy Turks from there, and you guys give the proceeds of Free Palestine to those guys. Maybe they could help with the kids of Gaza, right? You know, we got kidsofgaza.com, show their pictures, bios, etc. So we reached out to Turks from PCRF, and he said, yeah, we'd love to help. So excellent idea, guys. Already on board. They say they have photos of many children who have been evacuated. And
Booty come to Tillers, is this too much AIDS, but Destiny on it? You'll love that part at least. Okay. Thanks for the donation, Booty come.
that's maybe a good start. So now he's going to put us in touch with their communications. And Aaron, numbers don't do it just and the injury.
Okay,
Hey Richard. Just sending some positive vibes your way. I check in a few times a year, and it's always good to see you doing well. I went vegan at the start of 2016, so almost 10 years now, mostly thanks to you. Would you have a discussion with Alex BTW?
Alex who? Do you mean Alex Leonidas? I already did. Thanks for the donation, Seds. Hey, Gum.
Who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it.
He created a relationship with...
I mean, it's always good when war ends. It's good when conflict ends. It's
Booty Cam Donate Tellers forgot to send link.
Person who...
Yes, we're already watching that. Thanks for the donation, Booty Cam.
good when hostages are brought home. I think regardless of how that came about, I think it's always a good thing to celebrate.
What's the downside for you?
Well, I mean, it depends on what part we're talking about. I think that, you know, if you're looking for some kind of comprehensive peace between Israel and Palestine, this deal doesn't even come close to.
Okay, here is a better video.
The Israelis have already de facto annexed Gaza and de facto annexed.
This guy, I don't know what the fuck his deal is, but this dude is a lying propagandist.
The West Bank. Their principal goal now is to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians out of those two areas. The idea of ethnically cleansing Greater Israel has...
You know, I love how people say this when Palestinians want to ethnically cleanse Israel. They want to kill all the Jews. So, like, if we were living, like, with neighbors next to us that wanted to eradicate our existence, like, does it become unreasonable to see why you might want to move those people away from you Like, they all, by the way, they all whine and complain about bullshit too. It's like, okay, well, if Gaza's so bad, why don't you just move to Jordan or Egypt or something? Like, is that so horrible?
Has been wired into Zionism from the very beginning.
Legendary political scientist John Mearsheimer, the man who...
He's not a political scientist. He's a fucking propagandist fraud.
Who co-wrote the book.
Like, by the way, this is the same guy who was spreading pro-Russian propaganda, saying like Russia had some legitimate reason to invade Ukraine.
The Israel lobby, unfortunately, does not believe that the ceasefire in Gaza will hold. And honestly, with some of the latest developments,
whatever. They're just fucking retards. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
No, I did not get it used. Brand new, $28,000 on the sticker. Don't be jealous, nigga. I will still be able to send you hundreds in donos per month.
All right, well, that's nice. I hope the financing term, if you're financing it, isn't too long. I wouldn't want to finance one of those cars for more than like 4 years tops. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
To it. Remember, this is the second time the president has told us there will be peace in the Middle East. The first time was the Abraham Accords, and clearly that didn't work. So, yeah, Trump is really good at putting together these plans that are not plans at all. They're just like backbones of plans.
But when you say it didn't work, the Abraham Accords, I mean, it stood with the countries that signed up to the Abraham Accords. They have had a good working relationship with Israel. As a consequence of that, Saudi Arabia has indicated it would like to join them, but it can't when this war was raging, understandably. They're looking to expand the Abraham Accords. The amount of unity from Arab countries and Muslim countries like Turkey to this peace plan has been pretty unanimous in the region. So I'm not quite sure if this plan is unworkable, what would have been a better plan?
I mean, anything that actually leads to a long-term permanent solution between Israel and Palestine. I mean, when you say the Abraham Accords worked, I mean, that's because they were involving countries that weren't really fighting with each other. I think that a lot of the Israeli peace process with other Arab states is just trying to extricate Palestine from any overall peace arrangement with any other country. The Abraham Accords did that. They kicked the can down the road. October 7th happened. It was just like the second intifada after the failures of Oslo 1 and 2. And now we're getting a deal that kind of looks like an Oslo 3 peace framework where it's a bunch of vague stuff. Nobody really knows what it means. And basically Israel has like infinite reign to kind of like play with it how they want. Like, what does it mean to de-radicalize the Palestinian Authority or de-radicalize the Gaza Strip? Who knows?
Emily Austin, I felt a lot of joy to seeing the hostages after 2 years of utter, unrelenting hell finally being released. 20 of them back to their families, and the scenes with the reunion with their families, incredibly moving. I defy anyone with a heart to not be moved by it. And I also found the scenes of jubilation amongst the Palestinians and seeing families returning, albeit back to their bombarded homes, with at least the hope now of being able to rebuild their lives, hopefully. All of that I found very euphoric. I have to say, I did blanch, not at Donald Trump being celebrated in the Knesset, but by the kind of mass adulation for Netanyahu, because I don't think he showered himself in any glory this year. Explain why you think I'm wrong.
Well, honestly, I always say my fight as an American Jew is to make sure that Israel and Jews are safe and there's not all this false information going around in America. But needless to say, Israel is very torn between supporting Netanyahu or not. There's a joke that Israelis support Trump more than they support their own prime minister, which right now definitely feels that way in Israel. I will add, I don't think Netanyahu gets any credit when he does something right at all. I think whether it's something as precise as the beeper attack, he'll never get the pat on the back for doing things the right way. When it's his involvement in signing the agreement and it's Hamas who wasn't signing it, Bibi will always take the hits for that. Now, whether you like him or not, I just feel like you need to give credit where it's due.
But I think, to be honest, I thought, Emily, he did get a lot of credit for the Hezbollah pager attack. That was widely seen.
I would like to have thought so, but I would
just say, just to finish that point, I would say that he was widely credited with having launched a very precise, very carefully planned, expertly executed dismantling of Hezbollah using pages that did not lead to mass civilian casualties. Similarly, I thought the attack on Iran, which many people thought would be catastrophic and launch World War III and so on, actually turned out to be a short-lived war, which was very precise again in its targeting, and again did not involve mass civilian casualties. The problem comes.
Clip is going viral. How would you respond?
If someone got kicked out of 109 different bars, is it their fault or all?
I don't care, dude. Thanks for the donation.
With the way he has prosecuted the war
Just wants
in
attention.
Gaza, which has been to do none of those things, to be not remotely surgical, but to be, in many people's eyes, utterly indiscriminate, leveling 80% of Gaza to the point of total destruction, killing 70,000 people, including many tens of thousands of civilians, including over 20,000 kids. It seems to be a completely different way of waging war against your enemy to the way that he has rightly, in my opinion, got due credit for the way he dealt with Iran and Hezbollah.
Yeah, I'm a numbers girl. I like to think not emotionally, but with facts. And I recently found something really interesting, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it. According to UNRWA's numbers, which I'm reluctant to trust to begin with, according to them, 73,000 structures were destroyed, right? 68,000 people were dead. By the way, I'll add the Hamas spokesman said 58,000 militants were killed, so that math is not really making sense. But per UNRWA numbers, if that is in fact true and there were 73,000 structures destroyed and 68,000 people dead, then their ratio of structure to person, I'm talking buildings, was less than one person. It's 0.9 people per structure.
Emily, you've seen the pictures. You've seen, I mean, look, one of my biggest bugbears about this is Netanyahu refusing to this day to allow international journalists to operate freely in Gaza.
Again, to repeat this from yesterday, at least Jaws does not support Hitler.
Yes, that is true. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Verify what's been going on there. But we've all seen the very few aerial shots that have come out in the last few weeks and months, and they've been utterly devastating. You know, this idea there's just a few structures or one for one and so on, it's for the birds. They have leveled 3/4 of Gaza.
Who cares?
Israel has destroyed all of its enemies, except some scattered rats in Gaza and retards who cry on Twitter. Who is left to sign a peace deal with?
Well, that's the idea. Why bother signing peace deals when you could make the peace yourself? Thanks for the donation, retard.
Pierce, I can't deny the facts. I saw the videos of Gaza. Anyone who's denying that it's inhabitable is lying to you. However, I will add that when Hamas has done a phenomenal job since 2005 in...
Why is everyone crying about fucking buildings? Like, the fact that Israel was able to minimize civilian casualties, but all these buildings are destroyed. Okay, would you have rather them killed the people? Like, okay.
Embedding themselves into civilian infrastructure, into schools, into nurseries, into hospitals. Al-Shifa Hospital was a Hamas HQ, for God's sake. They don't really leave Israel with much of a choice. Listen, I know you're critical of Netanyahu, but I've yet to hear anyone give me a better answer than if they were in your shoes and you are fighting a military that has fully embedded themselves into infrastructure that belongs to civilians, do you now lose a war and surrender because they've made it really, really difficult to attack? I'll tell you what Israel has done. They've done them the courtesy of dropping leaflets every single time they're going to make a strike, which, by the way, I'll add, no other military will ever do that in any form of war. They have let aid in, despite people denying that. That's a fact. They've let tons of food and aid in. Again, no other military will ever do that.
Well, they waged a 3-month. Well, hang on. They waged a 3-month illegal blockade of food and aid in February this
year. It was not illegal.
Which was a breach of all conventions, and it
was not.
my opinion, was a war crime. I mean,
it was not.
I think a lot of stuff.
Before those 3 months blockade, they allowed enough aid in to last them.
Well, you know what? It should never have happened. It was that you cannot do that.
Why is it Israel's
Yeah, you can do that.
responsibility to feed them to begin with if they're in a
It's
war?
not. It's a war crime. It's a war crime to have a blockade. That's the point.
October 7th was a war crime too. But
Yes, it
nobody holds
was.
us to the,
Yes, but
the
you won't get
standards
any.
of
But
war.
Emily, you won't get any argument from me. I've always said that Hamas are a despicable terror group who committed one of the worst atrocities of modern times. And
Which brings the question, why do so many people worry more about property damage than the well-being of living humans?
Well, they need something to blame the Jews for. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Pierce Morgan's wrong. It's not illegal to create a military blockade. What's illegal is using starvation as a method of warfare, particularly against civilians.
And they can have no role in Gaza going forward. It's not just how the news is told, but what's left out, which concerns me. And when a friend in the business recommended it is incumbent on the only democracy in the region to actually behave at a higher level. And I've always taken issue with Israel's claim that they behaved on a superior moral plinth to any standing army.
I disagree with you.
Well, the best way to prove it is to let the journalists in. It's very easy to make all sorts of claims about.
Journalists will have died in Gaza because when they are going to announce that they're striking and Hamas is not going to allow people to flee, Hamas would have given the journalists the courtesy of fleeing?
Emily, that's not the concern of the Israeli government. They're not concerned about the safety and welfare of journalists. It is down to the individual media companies who employ these journalists about their risk assessment. But
that's fucking bullshit, because as soon as any of these journalists get killed, well, who's gonna have to fucking suffer the consequences of that? Israel. Oh, Israel's deliberately killing journalists. Oh, Israel didn't provide enough security. They wanted the journalists to die. Me. So, yeah, don't play that fucking game. Like, there's obviously a reason why they're not letting journalists in. It's because as soon as they do, these journalists are going to get killed in some way or raped or something, and then Israel's going to have to bear the brunt of the blame. On top of that, I can guarantee you Hamas would consider taking some of them as hostages, and then they'd be able to use that as leverage against Israel, too.
The fact remains that no journalist from CNN, from BBC, from Reuters, from AP, from any reputable news agencies are allowed into Gaza to report freely on what's happened. And until they
Congratulations, you're banned.
are, the suspicion remains that they are up to stuff which they don't want the world to see. So we will see.
Well,
I
Pierce,
fear we're going to uncover a lot of very bad stuff.
I need a Vegan Gains approved take on the first link.
So tired. Not tonight.
Okay.
It's just the phase of life we're in.
Honestly, when you say that, what I hear is that we're not going to play chess for 3 years.
I could live without it.
Great, that makes me feel really good.
Babe, don't take it personally.
I feel at a loss. I'm trying to be the best partner that I can be and take some of the mental load and give you space so that you can rest. And honestly, I would want to do that regardless of intimacy. But when you still say that you're tired, it starts to feel personal and I don't know what to do.
You've been feeling unwanted.
Yeah, I do.
I haven't been showing you how much you mean to me and that I'm still in love with you.
I appreciate that our priorities have shifted, and I would still love to get back to date nights and having more us time.
I can get on board. Thank you for being honest, and I'm...
This is the stupidest fucking most gay horseshit ever. So, first of all, you will never be able to have an honest adult conversation with a woman. They will always lie to you, obfuscate, play the victim, make it seem like you're the fucking bad guy being unreasonable, and they will lie and cheat and steal like a greedy, spoiled fucking child. So good luck having a conversation like this with an adult woman when they all act like fucking retarded children. Secondly, what the fuck is, like, really? You're the man of the house. Why in the fuck are you letting some bitch dictate anything? So, look, if a chick is not willing to fuck, kick her the fuck out. If she's not willing to do something for you, kick her the fuck out. If she wants to play this fucking game when, like, high likelihood you're covering, like, you're paying the bills, or at least more of them, you're doing more work in the relationship, why the fuck does she get a free pass to do whatever the fuck she wants and not have sex when you say so? Or any other demands that you think are fucking, like, sensible. Women do, like women are fucking crazy. I can't even, like, overstate it how fucking insane they are. They will want to have sex, but just because they want to play some fucking retarded game, they'll pretend that they don't want to have sex and just see how you'll react when they say, I'm too tired, I don't know, They just play fucking games. So, look, as soon as a fucking chick isn't, like, getting with the program, kick her the fuck out. Like, I know that's more difficult if you're in a fucking marriage, but why the fuck are you married in the first place? So, if you're smart, what you fucking do is you never get married, you force your fucking partner to sign a, what's the agreement called? It's a cohabitation agreement. So get her to sign a cohabitation agreement where you can kick her out whenever the fuck you want. It states that you're the property owner. She doesn't have any rights to the apartment you live in, the house you live in, nothing. And then if you ever are in a situation where, there's this fucking bullshit where she's not willing to have sex with you when you want, kick her the fuck out. She can learn that she listens to you, and if she doesn't, well, then she can fucking get the fuck out. It's fucking stupid. Prenups don't do shit. That's just fucking stupid. Don't ever get a prenup. Don't ever get married. That is just fucking ridiculous. Only have a girlfriend and make them sign a cohabitation agreement. That's the best way to protect yourself. But, like, again, people think I'm fucking crazy for thinking this way now. I've been through it. I've been there, done that. Trust me, women are fucking crazy, insane, unhinged children. And they'll act normal early on in the relationship so that they can sink their claws into you. But as soon as, like, they think, oh, I'm settled here, he can't do anything anymore. Again, total fucking flip. They'll start being manipulative, acting like fucking assholes for no reason. Just being complete fucking bullshitting, lying, manipulative cunts. So, look, you're the man of the house. The man of the house says how things are, when they are, how they're done. And look, if a chick isn't listening to you, kick her the fuck out. She can learn to just listen to you. And that's the way it has to be. If women didn't act like fucking spoiled, retarded, insane children, then yeah, you can have a conversation and, you can discuss things and share your perspective. But women cannot be trusted. They're all fucking manipulative liars, and they're fucking crazy. Even when they're not deliberately lying, they are just fucking crazy. Like, they're neurotic as fuck. Their brains are just filled with emotional nonsense. And when you're dealing with somebody like that, you can't have these sorts of fucking conversations where you both share how each other feels and then you come to some middle ground or something, or compromise. It can't be that way. You dictate the fucking rules because you're the only one who's a fucking sensible, rational adult in the relationship. Let me see. Yeah, fucking Hassan. Hassan's dog after memorizing all his attack patterns. I wish. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Also be careful, VG, the SJWS might try to cancel for sex sim against woman.
That's fine, I don't care. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
It's like Patrice O'Neal said, when women lead the relationship it crumbles.
Well, yeah, obviously. Like, again, it's because they're fucking crazy. Thanks for the donation, E-Nation.
Gaza left and right. I think the safety of the journalists was their concern.
Well, they've killed a
Times.
record number of journalists on Palestinian journalists. So I don't think they actually.
Unfortunately, Pierce, in Gaza, they throw on a vest that says journalists.
Yeah, but actually, many of them were Emily. Many of them were genuine journalists who were not members of Hamas who were brutally killed, and that is an
Pierce,
outrage.
are you aware Israel drops leaflets every time they're going to commit an airstrike, and Hamas does not let them evacuate?
I listen. You won't get me defending Hamas about any of this, but the idea that all the 200, that all the 200 plus journalists had it coming because they were fake journalists is bullshit.
I never said that.
Well, you're implying it when you're saying they're wearing the shirt.
The journalists, they all had working cell phones, by the way. The claim that Gaza has no electricity was completely a lie. The leaflets warned them. They literally had sirens letting them know to leave. How much more of a warning should Israel give before they're going to strike? Which, again, I'm going to repeat.
Well, it's more of... Okay, look, I'm going to bring other panelists in. I think it's more not about the warnings. It's more about how much more bombing does it take to make your point. Let me bring in Tara.
It's not about making a point, it's about fulfilling a military objective. If Hamas isn't dead yet, then yeah. Like
Mary. I mean, Tara, this has been a very, I've tried to be fair with this.
Like, this is so gay and retarded. I mean, we've gotten to a point now where people are honestly debating whether or not it was a good idea to bomb Nagasaki or Hiroshima, or what was the other big one? Winston Churchill ordered Dresden. Yeah, like people are actually having debates whether or not the Dresden bombing was justified, whether or not it was justified to bomb Nagasaki, Hiroshima. Like, I mean, this is communist infiltration, brain rot into our society, where somehow it is now immoral to defend your way of life, defend the free world, and crush your enemies. Like, it's so stupid.
War from the start. I always recognized Israel's right to defend itself. I felt it had a duty to defend itself. I think any other country in the world that was attacked in that way would have done something similar, certainly early on. It's the scale of what happened, particularly this year, to me became increasingly indefensible. When you start blockading and starving a civilian population in the way that Israel was doing, when you just carry...
Oh yes, they're all starving. That's how they stayed fat.
Carry on just relentless bombardment and destroying most of Gaza, when you're not achieving your aims of hostage release or defeating Hamas. None of this made any sense to me. And when you have people like Smodrich and Ben-Gvir on the Israeli government, openly talking about ethnic cleansing, kicking all the Palestinians out and taking the land, I began to feel that the mission creep.
Why is that a problem? Again, these people have never been able to get along for nearly 100 years. They keep making terror attacks. They keep supporting radical Islam. Why is it a problem to finally say, you know what? It's time for you to leave. Are you fucking kidding me? Just so stupid.
Was changing very, very fast. That's why I'm so thrilled that we got to where we did today, really, unexpectedly. But what is your overview about this war?
I agree with you. If there was nothing to hide, then why not let international journalists in? I mean, international journalists have covered every war. They're covering the war in Ukraine, Iraq.
Yeah, the thing is, international journalists don't blame fucking the US military or Ukraine for like every fucking thing. They don't deliberately lie. They don't deliberately spread fucking Nazi propaganda to make, one country look bad, unless it's Israel. So, like, give me a fucking break.
Afghanistan, they take risks, they die, but that is the way that people find out what is actually happening on the ground there. The fact that you couldn't get aid, the blockades, people traveling for miles, for days, for just like chickpeas. I interviewed a father in Gaza that was traveling for days for that. It's just
Traveling for days. Like, I don't even think it takes that long to walk from one end of Gaza to the other. Isn't it like a 7 or 8 hour walk? Let me see if I can even Google Maps this shit. Yeah.
Man, marrying the first you ever fucked got your brain fucked. Not all chicks will fuck you over like Obeen. You need to get laid and see not all are like DJ Jazzy Jasmine. I've never seen you so hateful toward chicks, at least hire you a hooker 1x a month, damn.
Look at this. He was walking for days to find chickpeas. Literally from one end of Gaza to the other. About a 9-hour walk.
Dresden is clear-cut. Arguing against it is a red flag that indicates commie brain rot. The nukes were 100% justified and it's an easy argument to make, but I think it is debatable whether we should have sacrificed millions of soldiers instead. Psych nigger.
Yeah, again, it's just commie brain rot. There's been infiltration of communist ideology, and one of the goals is to basically humiliate the populace and make them feel like their culture is not worthy, and it makes people destroy themselves with like mass immigration and shit. Oh, it's weird. Oh, white guilt. Oh, white people are evil. Oh, Muslims are so good. And then even after like terror attacks, child rape gangs, yeah, sweep it all under the rug. It's all a goal to destroy society. And you're just seeing more and more of that. It's just fucking retarded. Thanks for the donation, retard. So, yeah. This fucking idiot is saying she interviewed a father from Gaza saying he walked for days to find chickpeas. Literally from one end of Gaza to the other, it's about a 10-hour walk. But she's claiming he needed to walk for days. Like, does this exactly make sense? And also consider there were areas of Gaza that were like blockaded by the Israeli military, so he was probably just in the south. Like the southern part of Gaza, and he would have just had to like travel to like different aid stations. He was not walking for days to find a single can of fucking chickpeas. Like, that is just a bullshit fucking story. Maybe hours, but he was not walking for fucking days. Just horseshit. Like, Gaza is a very small fucking place.
No, it's time for you to leave is being too nice, more like it's time for you to die.
Yes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
So inhumane that it's hard to even remember the start of the war, why this even started, which
It's like the Hebrews who got lost in the Sinai Desert for 40 years during a long walk to the Promised Land, yeah.
Again, if these SJWs hate this country so much, why don't they just move to China that they say they love so much?
Well, they're full of shit. We all know they're full of shit. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
which was an incredible aggression, horrible act of Hamas, just attacking Israel brutally, stealing hostages and killing them. But then when you get into the atrocities against the Palestinian people and how many children have died, you've really lost the plot in so many.
Like, just fucking retarded. So, look at how the US retaliated against Japan after Pearl Harbor. Are we going to start saying, oh, the poor Japanese, you know, they were fascist totalitarians who are even worse than the Nazis, and they were committing mass fucking, like just massacre after massacre of the fucking Chinese, of all the POWs that they were able to capture. They tortured people in the most horrific fucking ways, committed some of the most like horrific, insane experiments, including like experiments with biological weapons, where they would just release horrific diseases on populations of people. But when you look at all the like children that died in like the Tokyo bombings, like I think the US just went a little too far. Like, can you really justify that? Like, it's just fucking brain rot. Fuck you. Come fight me. Like, all these people are just the most pathetic fucking losers. Like, you know what? If you hate Zionism so much, come fight me. I'm a fucking Zionist. Come fight me. If you think it's sensible to fight Zionists, okay, fight me in a fucking cage. You won't do it because you're a lying fucking coward, and they promote this stupid fucking horseshit so that they can spread anti-Semitic fucking garbage, and they can encourage Palestinians to fucking do the dirty work for them. They would never, in a million fucking years, ever, like, risk their own lives or well-being fighting Zionism, so they try to get these fucking deranged, lunatic, fucking Islamic idiots to do it for them. Fuck you. Grey Knight donated $2 low. Saw someone left a comment on this anti-Columbus Day post, and it was the best comment I ever saw, lol. Here's a screenshot. They were refugees looking for a better life, bringing diversity and inclusion. Don't be a bigot. Yeah, really. Thanks for the donation, Grey Knight.
Many ways, and then there are some of these videos where you see Benjamin Netanyahu sort of like berating these creators that are pro Israel, and they're saying you really have to protect us more in the press. You have to be pushing our side more and more. You realize it's really become a propaganda game in a way, and Israel lost. I mean, the rest of the world is condemning them for war crimes. UN organizations saying it's a genocide. It's a wonderful day that the hostages have been returned. It's an amazing day. It's an amazing celebration. But I do think that, we can't look at Netanyahu as some sort of hero in all of this.
No.
We have to understand that this is a breaking point.
But we could, I think.
Oh, Winston Churchill is so evil. He was responsible for the Dresden bombing. Like, this is the kind of horseshit they're fucking spewing.
I mean, one of my biggest problems with the way, on both sides I've had this, right? So early on when I was defending Israel's right to defend itself, I had a lot of extremists on the Palestinian side saying I was a pro-Zionist monster and so on. And then this year, I've had the complete reverse, where I've had very extreme Zionists who have come for me in big numbers, and their tactic has been to brand any criticism of Netanyahu or his government, which some of whom are absolute headbangers like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, that if you criticize them at all, you must be anti-Semitic. You must hate Jewish people.
As a Jew, I want to say that's foolish.
Yeah.
I don't correlate criticism with anti-Semitism. I just want to make that very clear.
I know you would never do that, but I'm sure you've seen it, Emily.
Wasn't this woman on Piers Morgan before, the one in the middle who hasn't talked yet? And she was saying she supported Hamas in the October 7th attack. Like, Piers asked her straight up, do you support the October 7th attack? And she wouldn't answer.
It's been a really insidious thing to have to experience, because I have never had anything but positive thoughts about Jewish people, about Israel, actually. I love the country.
Also, what's with all this hatred to white people, VG? I mean, aren't some of these SJWs white theme selves?
Well, again, it's communist brain rot. It's teaching people to hate themselves. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Been there, and the idea that you can't criticize a government. I made the point. I led the campaign against the Iraq War in the UK. I was running the Daily Mirror newspaper, which was a Labour supporting paper. I took on the Labour Prime Minister, Tony Blair. It didn't mean I hated the British people or that I hated my country. It just meant I hated what my government was doing in my name. So this kind of thing that you must be a Jew hater if you criticise Netanyahu, I found disgusting. Brandon, let me bring you in here. There's been an interesting split in Trump's support. The base, it seems to me, the MAGA base is increasingly anti-Israel. We see that with Tucker Carlson, with Candace Owens and others. Others are very much pro-Israel, but there's a real split there. What's that about?
Well, let me correct you on that. I don't think it's anti-Israel. A lot of it's anti-Semitic. I mean, people are losing their mind.
Nick Fuentes banned from Spotify after becoming #1 trending podcast on it. How do you respond to people who say this just radicalizes people further or Streisand affects them and boosts their clout? Personally, I think we need to genocide all podcasters.
That is just complete and utter horseshit. Deplatforming these people always 100% of the time reduces their reach, shrinks their audience. And I mean, you can see how these people always respond after they get banned. They're always salty about it, bitch, complain. So yeah, no, that's just complete nonsense. And I mean, like the German government did that to Hitler, by the way. After he was arrested for trying to coup the government, you know, with his fucking Nazi terror attack, he was facing the death penalty, but the German government at the time, they were super lenient to right-wing figures. So they only gave him a few years sentence. And once he got out, he was restricted from public speaking or writing in the Nazi newspaper. The Nazi popularity just completely flatlined, and then once that restriction was lifted and he could do public speaking again and write for the newspaper, their popularity exploded. Like, yeah, canceling people fucking works. If they would have killed Hitler, executed him for treason, which they should have done, Nazis probably never would have taken fucking power. And even if they didn't go that far, if they just kept him in jail, gave him a life sentence, or if they forever banned him from any public speaking, like, again, that Nazis probably wouldn't have become a thing. So yeah, canceling people works. That's just a load of horseshit. Thanks for the donation, retard. Dodo donate $2. What's that? Nick has been banned from social media. Yes, well, just Spotify. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
And I almost had a stroke listening to the capitulation to the foolery in Gaza and Israel. Israel don't owe them anything. Why are we confused about this? They came over and they slaughtered all these people. They took people hostage. They don't owe them nothing. They could starve them to death if they wanted to.
Yeah.
That's their decision, in my personal opinion, because they're reasonable. They send out leaflets and the lies about the media. They don't allow journalists in. Where's all this propaganda coming from?
They don't allow them
I see videos of kids. I see buildings coming down. Where's all this coming from?
They don't allow it. It is, look.
Well, listen, but
Brandon,
it's a real reason.
it is actually a fact they don't allow journalists in.
No, but
unless you are a friendly journalist embedded with the IDF, you're not allowed in.
It's inconsequential. Because
it's not though, is it? Because how do we know the truth?
I believe it's inconsequential. You know the truth. You see the propaganda coming out of Gaza. You see, and then journalists get killed and people are complaining.
Propaganda is not truth.
And people complain.
I see propaganda on all sides, and in my experience of propaganda in war, the only way.
What is the truth?
We will find out. The only.
Yeah, this guy's actually based on Israel.
Wait, Brandon, the only way to counter propaganda from all sides in a war, because it comes from all sides, the only way is to allow independent journalists to do their jobs.
Yes, independent, anti-Semitic journalists who hate Israel, who are going to go in there and spread fucking lies and bullshit, and then probably get killed by Hamas, and then their journalist friends or, you know, fucktards on Twitter are all gonna blame Israel for it. That makes sense. Bro, a great example of this is when Israel released that press release about how Hezbollah has that underground vault filled with money and gold and shit under the hospital. Well, what did the fucking BBC do? They went to the fucking hospital, and then they said, "Oh, there's no way underground to this supposed vault. Israel's lying." They literally lied. The BBC, these independent journalists, they literally fucking lied. Israel said there is an underground vault underneath the hospital, and the only way to get to it is through 2 adjacent buildings. There's no route through the hospital, but it's under the hospital, and there's a tunnel through 2 adjacent buildings. So BBC went there. They literally fucking lied. So, like, does that not give you enough fucking reason, like, you know, to assume why Israel doesn't want these, like, fucking journalists coming in so that they can just spread propaganda and lies, and if they ever get killed, well, guess what's going to happen? Everyone's going to blame Israel and say, wait, Israel killed the journalists. Just so fucking stupid.
Oh God, Piers Morgan is such a moron.
Yeah, he is. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
They don't do their job in America. So what they lie every day in America. So I don't really care about that. At the end of the day, we will see now that the war is over.
Let's talk about people getting $7,000 a post.
Let me finish,
to lie. That's
young
our
lady.
feature
Let me
here with
finish.
you.
And I will give you a chance to speak. Let me finish, young lady, please.
Today's show is sponsored by Oxford.
And so what I'm saying is that I think it's inconsequential. I think people are jumping out. They don't have to feed these people. They could have starved them to death if they wanted to, but they didn't.
Well, that
they were
would be a
reasonable.
war crime.
They were you could say it's a war crime anyway. Who
Well, no,
cares?
I'm not saying
they
it.
came
It
over
would
there
be
and
a
killed all
war
these
crime.
innocent people in Israel.
Yeah, but
You could say
Brandon,
it's
it
war
would
crime
be a war
anyway.
crime.
You could say it doesn't matter. They killed all these people.
It does matter.
Hamas is embedding.
Brandon,
Hamas is
it
embedding
matters.
themselves. Hamas is embedding themselves in the population.
Yeah, Hamas
What
are
else do you
disgusting.
expect them to do?
Hamas
It
are
does, but what do you-
disgusting, and they commit
what do you expect
endless
them to
war
do,
crimes.
Pierce?
But the
What do you
idea
expect them to do, Pierce?
Yeah, but
how do you fight a war?
I'm sorry,
when they're
but
embedded in the people.
Sorry, but you know there are international rules relating to warfare.
Yes, and Israel is abiding by them.
And if Israel breaks them, they are as
Did
culpable
Netanyahu
as Hamas or anybody else.
commit war crime? Did Netanyahu commit war crimes trying to fight this war when you have Hamas embedded?
Dude, Israel rescued hostages that were abducted on a plane flight. They flew to, I think, Uganda because the terrorists were friends with the Ugandan dictator at the time. Israel launched a counterterrorism operation to rescue the hostages. Netanyahu's brother was actually on that counterterrorism team, and he died in that operation. After Israel rescued those hostages, the UN condemned Israel for piracy. That is like the insane anti-Israel fucking brain rot that exists within the UN. So when Israel isn't even allowed to rescue hostages that were kidnapped by terrorists, and they're accused of piracy by the UN, who the fuck cares if the UN condemns them for any military operation within Gaza? It's a fucking joke.
I believe he may well have done. Yes, I do believe that.
What else is he going to do then? Not fight?
No, you can fight, but you have to abide by the rules of war.
Well, what are you going to do?
This is why we have
the
but Brandon,
Nobody's answering his question.
This is why
What do
we
you
had
do
the
when they're
Geneva.
embedded
This
in
is why we
civilians?
had the Geneva Convention set up after
what do
World
you
War
do
II.
then? What do you do then?
Brandon, after World War II, they set up a Geneva Convention because the world concluded that a lot of the stuff that went on in World War II simply crossed a line, and then.
Okay, am I misremembering, or was the Geneva Convention before World War II, or was there something else in place at that time?
For future wars and conflicts, you had to have rules of engagement.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering. The first, okay, so there already was Geneva Convention. The first Geneva Convention focused on the protection of wounded and sick soldiers in armed conflict. 1949, after World War II, the 4 Geneva Conventions were adopted. Okay. So something similar already existed beforehand.
Engagement recognized by the international community. And if you don't have those, then anything goes, that anyone can do anything. And you, I'm sure, would agree with me. That way insanity lies, right? And total mayhem.
I agree, Pierce, but I think that this was a unique situation where you're fighting an enemy that's embedded in with the people. They literally have headquarters at hospitals. They're having military weapons and doing all this stuff. Some of their journalists are terrorists. Some of the people are terrorists. They're not even fighting with uniforms on. How do we even know who's a combatant and who's not a combatant? When they release the results of how many people that died, they're not telling you how many people are combatant. When they say that there's children that died, The range of children is from 17 all the way down. How do we know how many 17-year-olds that they've recruited to fight on the side of Hamas? So it is ridiculous
Well, we
to
don't.
act
All
as
we
if-
know.
Yeah, when Yahya Sinwar was killed, I think one of the members of his security detail, I think he was either 16 or 17.
Actually find that out. If we had journalists in there, wouldn't we actually know the fact?
How is a fucking journalist going to find out how many teenage kids are fighting in Hamas? They're obviously going to lie to you.
Journalists going to have a birth certificate in their hand? Give me a break.
No, if we had journalists in there that were from every country all over, you can have.
You know what? Maybe we should put journalists in women's bathrooms so that trans women can't sneak in. Like this is just fucking retarded. Like journalists don't have magic wizard powers. Like this is so stupid.
You can have your dispute with American journalists. Obviously, you don't think they're independent.
Would be dead. They would be getting killed. They would be dead. They would be starving.
No, Brandon,
right?
Brandon, let me just interject for a sec. I want to point something out I noticed after the ceasefire is that before the ceasefire, if you looked at videos of Gaza, and Pierce, plenty of them were coming out, not from journalists, from civilians in Gaza, you saw no men in uniform. It's almost like Hamas did not exist in Gaza. I actually thought Israel had gotten rid of them. Suddenly, after Israel withdrew its troops, every single man, actually, let me add, teenager and adult man suddenly has a machine gun and is in uniform. Excuse me, the woman in the red, I forgot your name. Actually, really respect your opinion.
Tara.
But I do believe that these Hamas militants, if you're a journalist in Gaza and they're dressed as regular innocent civilians, you don't know who's who. So what are they going to do? Okay, you look like a normal kid. You look like a normal kid. You could be Hamas, I'm not sure. They were literally, as Brandon's trying to say, embedding themselves in civilians, not just in their resources, in uniform as well.
Yeah, they obviously were doing all of those things. So let me bring in Nadine. Nadine, you and I have talked a lot during this war, often in some very contentious circumstances. But today, how do you feel? I mean, the war appears to have ended for now. Palestinians are returning to what remains of their homes. There appears to be a joyous feeling of at least the war is over and they can try and get back to their lives. They haven't been expelled, as many on the Israeli government would have liked to seen. So do you give Trump any credit for this?
I mean, I sincerely hope that the war is over. Palestinians have been through enough, through starvation, famine, entire bloodlines wiped out, families that'll never be, the same again. And I just think these ceasefires aren't necessarily proof of peace. So far, they've just been.
The Nazis unironically used Red Cross ambulances to move troops and used hospitals in Warsaw as sniper nests, which were considered war crimes at the time. They called it perfidy.
Huh. I didn't know that, but sounds like something they would do. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Pauses in the project of genocide and ethnic cleansing that began over 75 years ago with the Nakba and continues today. Under Trump, countless of Palestinians were killed. They were starved. They were displaced. And the so-called ceasefire plan didn't even include Palestinians, negotiators at all in the construction of the plan. Instead, Palestinians were forced into submission through starvation, blockade, and these U.S.-administered Gaza humanitarian fund sites where people were rounded up and targeted by Islamophobic biker gangs. And now part of these deals demand that this
Islamophobic biker gangs. What a stupid thing to say. Well, apparently anybody who's kind of against raping children is Islamophobic, so those bikers seem pretty fucking base to me.
Armament of Hamas, which is literally impossible, since most of the weapons that Hamas happens now were delivered by Israel itself in the form
They were not delivered by Israel.
of unexploded ordinances and munitions.
The majority of weapons that Hamas uses are not unexploded ordinances.
Dropped on Gaza. So it feels like.
Okay, is this adding up to you? So Israel's bombs are so effective, they've completely flattened Gaza. All these bombs blew up all the buildings. There's no homes for anyone to go back to. But there's all these unexploded ordinances that Hamas can use for weapons. Okay, yeah. Seems to me the majority of the fucking bombs actually blew up.
This is all just a setup to extract the hostages, which Hamas said early on in October 2023 that they were willing to release all of the civilian hostages.
They did not say that. Kid Boo donated $2.
Somebody needs to tell Aisha Curry to shut the fuck up. Why the fuck do you keep going on these podcasts saying shit to embarrass Steph? Why do you keep doing this? What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you not know better than to get on a podcast and say some wild shit like this in front of millions of people? Listen to what Aisha Curry said on this fucking podcast, bro.
4 kids. Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No, I didn't want kids. I didn't want to.
She didn't want kids, but she got pregnant and had kids 4 times. Something isn't adding up. It's almost as if this woman's a dumb lying bitch.
Get married. I thought.
Oh, right. I didn't want to get married. Right. Uh-huh. Sure. That's how you ended up getting married.
I was going to be career girl, and that's it.
Why would you say this publicly? Why would you say this publicly? Listen, even...
She's jealous of her husband, and she's fat and ugly, and she's just bitching and complaining. You know, typical woman bullshit.
If you don't feel the same way now, like you're happy to be married, you don't say shit like this that can potentially be weaponized against your husband, which is one of the most, if not the most popular players in the NBA. You know,
they're gonna get a divorce, and then she's gonna steal half his money. Like, and child support.
Oh, it's low hanging fruit. This is so easy for somebody to try to make and spin some negativity out of this, bro. And what's worse is this isn't your first time saying some wild shit about Steph.
The fact that, yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero. This sounds
Yeah, because you're fucking obese.
weird, but like male attention. And so then like I begin to
Yeah, the amount of men who want to go whale hunting is pretty fucking small.
internalize it, and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
But this is now your second time saying some crazy shit that you know the internet is probably going to tear stuff up over, bro. You said that you want.
This chick is a crazy, unhinged fucking cunt. She's married to a mega fucking millionaire. Guy's making crazy bank playing basketball. She's got it made, doesn't have to do fucking shit. Her husband's taking care of her. She can literally buy whatever the fuck she wants, travel wherever the fuck she wants, do whatever the fuck she wants all day. And then here's this fucking bitch complaining, talking shit about her husband and how terrible her fucking life is when she has it better than 99.999% of people on fucking planet Earth. Like, this is exactly what I'm saying. Never, ever, ever let women make any fucking decisions in the relationship. It's all, like, you have to lay the fucking law down and tell them, shut the fuck up, do what I say. If you don't, get the fuck out. Because this is what happens. You get, like, some fucking crazy bitch who's unhinged, thinks she can talk shit about you online. Like, I can guarantee you this isn't even half of the fucking horseshit this dude has to deal with. If she's talking this kind of shit publicly on a fucking podcast, imagine what this dude is actually going through in his fucking relationship. I can guarantee you the amount this chick is fucking nagging, being a problem for this fucking guy, giving him fucking stress headaches constantly. Like, this is just what women do. They can have it fucking amazing. You can be a fucking millionaire, give them the world, give them everything they fucking want, and all they'll do is whine and complain, act like a fucking victim, and try to make your life more difficult. It's just so stupid. This guy, fucking, what's his name? Stephen Curry. He's an idiot for fucking getting married in the first place. Like, don't ever get fucking married, because this is the type of shit you have to deal with. Majin Buu, donate $2. Let me see.
Hey, a lot of you guys.
I'm probably not going to watch this. Thanks for the donation, Majin Buu. This is going to be boring as fuck. He's just gonna say unnatural, unnatural, vegetables are poison over and over again. I don't think I'm gonna watch that. Thanks for the donation though, dude. Dodo, donate $2, please watch 2830.
Go ahead and maybe like hurt me more.
Oh my god, he's crying like a little bitch.
A response video. If you want to bury me, if you want to go and expose every bit of my private details, bro, honestly, you could fucking destroy my life. Go ahead. It'll be nothing that I haven't already said to the camera. In the 1,000 videos that I've recorded, I've told everyone that I am an extremely lustful fucking degenerate. If I'm in a country where weed is legalized, you won't see me for 2 fucking weeks. I've told everyone everything about me, but if you want to go ahead and maybe like hurt me more, you have the fucking power to do that. You can do it. You can.
Like, by the way, this is manipulative as fuck. The guy said he's not making any more content about this and he's done with it. And now he's like acting like he's the victim here. When he instigated this whole situation, he's the one who posted about it publicly for no fucking reason.
Fucking destroy me if you want. If that's what you think will bring you peace, go ahead. But just do one thing.
Alright, so Hamza's gay confirmed. He cries like a little fucking girl about some like schoolyard bullshit.
If you have like respect for our friendship, do one thing. Take just 2 days away from the internet, read your Bible, and then come back and then see if you think that your video was appropriate. And don't get me wrong, look, I'm not fucking perfect. Of course, when I saw the video, I'm not gonna lie, I was pacing around my...
I think the reason he's crying is because he knows this is like the beginning of the end and he's losing his audience. He had to ban a fuck ton of people who were commenting on his videos saying he's a fucking lying fraud.
My room thinking, oh, fucking asshole, of course I was, of course. And your response...
So basically what happened here, he was jealous of a friend of his who was making more money and becoming more successful than him. So he ended up spreading lies about this friend online. And then this friend said what was actually going on, exposing him for being a lying, jealous, narcissistic dickhead. And now he's doing damage control.
Video to my Instagram post, it proved me right. But still, I don't even think you're a bad person for this because I know that this industry, this...
He's the one who made a fucking post lying about the guy. He's the one who instigated all of this. Like, he's so full of shit.
This business can get to your head. I know it. Like, I know that better than everyone else. This career is hard enough mentally without needing drama, without needing...
Then why were you the one to post about this in the first place?
Videos about your friends and whatever. Life is hard enough. My life is like a fucking wall from the moment I was born to now. My life has been tough and it still is fucking tough, right? And yours has been as well. We don't need extra fucking drama to make this harder. We don't. I can apologize to you right now. This is the problem. I'd love to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I take it back. But the thing is, I would still need to tell people what I told them. That's the thing. I hope you can understand that.
Yeah, so he's just a manipulative, lying dickhead. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
She looks good in a bikini.
Yeah, that's not her right now. She's fat now. This is an old-ass photo. This is old. She's doing the fucking... She's doing the fucking, thing single moms do on, like, dating apps. Where they'll show a photo of them from 5 years ago, and then they're 40, 50 pounds heavier now. So, yeah, no, she got fat. This is from a while ago. Thanks for the donation, E-Nation.
Hostages, in order to just continue killing people in Gaza. Just last night, another Palestinian was killed, was shot by Israel, and also proxy, militias that are being funded and protected by Israel in Gaza are also continuing to kill Palestinians, like the Palestinian journalist Saleh al-Jafrawi, who was murdered. And I think another thing that is important to mention here is that Israel systematically...
Hamas. You're a compulsive liar.
$7,000, we get it. You get your pay.
Keep saying that. That's a long story. Do you have any proof?
$7,000? Who's getting paid?
Do you have any proof? Interrupting me.
Who's getting paid?
Not to mention that Israel systematically destroyed more hospitals, schools, schools, water and sanitation systems,
Hamas
power plants,
headquarters.
and other essential infrastructure.
Yeah, there aren't like 36 hospitals or whatever the fuck it is in Gaza. There's only like 3 or 4. All the other hospitals are just Hamas hideouts.
Right before withdrawing from Gaza, leaving the population without basic services.
Okay, don't all talk
So
at
even
once.
when-
Nadine, let me ask you a question. Out of interest, what should Israel have done on October the 8th by way of responding to the worst terror attack in modern?
What are your thoughts on white land whales? Would you keep one as a pet?
No. No, never do that. Thanks for the donation, dipshit.
Sometimes.
What should Palestinians have done to
No,
respond
that wasn't my
to
question.
constant killing?
That
the
wasn't
siege
my
and
question.
blockade?
What should Israel have
They're
done?
not. Is she your lawyer? I'm not sure why she's continuously interrupting me. I know you get
Okay.
$7,000 to sit here and spew propaganda, but that's not going to work.
Nadine,
here.
aren't you
I
a
think
lawyer?
that
Don't you know what
peace cannot
defamation is? Do
happen.
you have any?
Bootycum donated $2.
A graphic video has shown Hamas fighters conducting a public execution of alleged Israeli collaborators. The footage here shows Hamas.
Yeah. Well, we all knew this was going to happen.
Hamas gunmen lining up 7 men in a public square and shooting them from behind. Hamas confirmed the authenticity of the video. The group told Reuters they will not be tolerating any violations of order in Gaza. Palestinian security sources say.
Well, Israel got the hostages back, and they can keep bombing and killing these motherfuckers when the time comes.
Dozens of people have been killed in clashes between Hamas fighters and rival tribal groups in recent days.
Depends on what level you want to go down to, but you know, you've got Hamas and allied groups who are, if you like, of an Islamist stamp. You've also got non-Islamist hardline Palestinians who reject any accommodation with Israel. And then you've got some groups who are not allied with Hamas. And then you've got clans and families. In many cases, those people are against Hamas as well.
So what you got there is a power vacuum. We've seen this before. Joining us live on our Wednesday morning is our panel with 2 men with...
Well, yeah. That ceasefire ain't gonna last long. I can tell you that much. Thanks for the donation, Booty Count.
That I have ever gotten
speaking to
one penny
genocide
from
deniers
Israel?
or Israeli
No, if you're going to make an
propagandists.
accusation, back it up with facts. Do you have one?
If you wouldn't keep a white land whale as a pet, then why the fuck were you
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
One receipt that I received $1 from Israel, or are you just
trying to
yapping at
respond
it
to
disgusting
his
now?
question right now. I know
Well,
you
Nadine,
want
I
to
think it's a
sound
fair.
like
Hang on,
made an
hang on,
accusation.
hang on.
Back
It's
it
a
up.
fair question, Nadine.
Back
You
it
made
up.
you made an allegation against Emily that she's taken money to talk up for Israel. Do you have any proof of that?
This is widely reported, and I would like
No.
to actually focus on the question that you talked about in regards
wanna
to
focus
Gaza.
on the allegation
At the end
you
of the
just
day,
made.
I don't.
Well, just for the
need to
record, Emily, have you
entertain a
accepted?
hack.
Have you been paid, Emily, to talk up
Not
in
one
Israel's favour?
cent. Zero. Nothing.
Okay, so we've clarified that. Nadine, answer my question though. What should Israel, not the Palestinians, what should Israel have done after this appalling terror attack?
I think the only way that there can be peace in the Holy Land is through accountability and through justice, not through genocide. By committing this genocide, Israel hasn't.
Yeah, but I'm
stamped out
talking about
Hamas.
the.
They'll never answer the question. They will never, ever answer. And it's because what they want to say is, well, Israel should have done what Gandhi told them they should have done and just killed themselves.
Attempted genocide that Hamas waged. So let's talk about that first, right? What should Israel have done following the mass murder of 1,200 of its people, the wounding and maiming of 7,000 more, and the kidnapping of over 250, including Holocaust survivors and babies? What should Israel have done? What would have been the proportionate correct response by Israel after that attack?
Negotiating a hostage exchange and in return for the Palestinian hostages would have saved a lot of bloodshed on both sides. And let's not forget that Israel employed the Hannibal Directive on October 7th. Much of the
They did not employ the Hannibal Directive.
damage that has been done could only have been carried.
Dodo and 2 lawyers would love your input on this.
Today we're going to talk about the 10 biggest decisions you'll need to make as a young man, and that if you want to get all the notes I have, long. Let me explain. When you look at this chart, many years ago, I'm working with my guys in the insurance company, and I'm watching the
It wasn't an insurance company. It was a multi-level marketing scam.
brokers that are very good at developing newer brokers. And I'm watching guys who are horrible at developing new brokers. And I kept going and saying, maybe they're not good with people. They were. Maybe they're not very good in this business. They were. Maybe they're not very good salespeople. They were very good. Some of my best salespeople I had weren't good at developing others. And then I would go over here. Some of the guys that built some of the biggest agencies weren't the best salespeople. They weren't necessarily the most talented people. Some of them had terrible accents.
It's bizarre how he's like talking about this because he's literally admitting that he was running a multi-level marketing scam. People were making more money recruiting new fucking idiots into his MLM scheme than from actually selling insurance.
But this score, when it comes down to how selfish they were, they had the right mixture of selfless and selfish. By the way, this is not to say being selfish is bad. You're gonna see when we go through this chart, and this is the graph we finally came up with. Here's what it looks like. Revolves around you, but you still don't commit a crime because you wanna make sure to be able to enjoy your life, so you're not.
Like I kind of agree with this first part that people with antisocial personality disorder traits tend to be the most successful. If somebody has too strong of some of these traits, they end up being self-destructive. But yeah, if you have a right mixture of those traits, you tend to become more successful. I'm not watching this. This is just fucking stupid. Thanks for the donation there, Dodo.
Carried out by Apache helicopters, and
all right, but do you think what Hamas?
So she's spouting the conspiracy theory that the mass amount of deaths at the Nova Music Festival was due to Apache helicopters firing on the crowd. That's being completely debunked. That was debunked literally hours after the attack by Geolocate. The Apache helicopters were not there until 30 minutes after the attack, and there were conversations that were recorded by the Apache pilots saying they're not willing to engage anybody around the music festival or the kibbutzes because they weren't able to identify terrorists or civilians. So they were ordered to just shoot upon anybody who was hovering around the border wall. That's it. So they didn't engage with anybody at the music festival or the kibbutzes.
Okay, but do you think what Hamas did on October the 7th was justified?
You constantly ask me this question every time I come on your show as some sort of gotcha. You know, I think that repression and oppression breeds resistance. I'm not living at the opposite end of a barrel of an Israeli gun. I'm not having my home destroyed to rubble. So I'm not going to tell people that have constantly faced this prior to October 7th.
Yeah, so she supports the October 7th attack and she wants Jews to die.
2023, that, you know, resisting it is wrong or how they resisted is wrong. That's not my place.
A terror attack is not resistance. It's a terror attack.
Pierce, this is clear. This young lady is a propagandist.
How should have Israel
responded? She does not have common sense. And
I'm asking you, Piers, now. How should Palestinians respond to 75 years of displacement? For over 20 years.
That's 75 years of displacement.
It's not just a few months. Okay, it's funny. You're such a hypocrite. You're talking about me interrupting you, and now you're constantly interrupting me. Piers.
Yeah, because you're a dumb bitch.
Okay, because it's getting crazy what you're saying.
To constant incursions on Gaza, to the destruction of refugee camps in the West Bank, to the denial of the right of return, to countless war crimes. How should have Palestinians responded to that?
Well, my answer is that committing a terrorist attack of that magnitude is never, ever resistance or defensible.
Okay, so what's the answer? So how should they resist?
Well, no.
You're just saying what they shouldn't do.
I'm making the point that an act of terrorism is never the correct response, ever.
Wow, what a Islamophobic view.
And they killed innocent people.
And purchases before the end of the month. Again today.
So what's the correct response?
Let me bring Brandon in here. Brandon.
Okay, you
Just
can't
real
answer
quick,
the
'cause I
question
want-
that you tried to ask me.
I want everybody to get a chance. This young lady is clearly a propagandist. She will not deny or will not say that Hamas is a terrorist organization and they killed innocent people. And then she want Hamas to be fighting and killing innocent people. And then when Israel come back and whoop their socks off, she act like it's a genocide. They haven't been committing a genocide. I don't know what world you live in or any other person that's living in that think this is a genocide. You don't feed people in a genocide.
International
You don't provide
organizations
aid in a
have-
genocide. The population
world
doesn't
thinks
grow
it's a
during a
genocide.
genocide. 75 years, the population has grown. What are you saying? Are you guys smoking or what? 75 years, the population has grown. That's not a genocide.
That's not what the
It's not an
definition of genocide. Could you even define genocide? You
Name one genocide that's ever occurred where the population grew.
clearly can't even define
Well,
genocide.
I tell you what.
Name another genocide.
All right,
that was like this.
let
Name
me
another one.
just say so.
You
Let
wanna
me just
talk
say
about
something.
Rwanda?
The
Name a
reality,
genocide.
and I've learned this by talking to genocide scholars, is that no
Genocide scholars. Oh my God.
country or state has ever been found guilty of waging a genocide. I was surprised by that. I didn't know that. The bar for a genocide is extremely high. And that's why, so far, no country has ever been found guilty or convicted of committing or waging a genocide. I didn't know that before.
Wasn't the Rwandan genocide a tribal thing? It wasn't a government that was doing it?
This war broke out, but I do know that now. So the bar is very, very high for even in Rwanda. They did not, in the end, classify that as a genocide. We might have a view that that's wrong, but my view of what's happened in Israel is that if you believe people like Smodrich and Ben-Gvir, they were operating on a basis of ethnic cleansing, seizing the opportunity created by this appalling attack to actually expel Palestinians, kick them out of their homes and take their land. That's ethnic cleansing, but I wouldn't categorize that as a genocide, which is how many people have tried to make me call it. But that's my explanation. Let me bring Destiny back. You've been waiting, I've got to say, unusually patiently, Destiny, which I appreciate. Look, what people are talking about now is the future, whether there can be lasting peace. If it turns out this is the catalyst for lasting peace, and a lot of that may come down to the Arab and Muslim countries here who seem to be very actively involved in trying to get a lasting peace through this, how much credit would you give Donald Trump? Should he get the Nobel Peace Prize next year? Many thought he deserved it this year. It is unusual to have a Republican-American president who wants to forge peace, not war. But he talks about peace all the time. He's trying to find it in Ukraine. He seems to have found it in the Middle East. I'm not sure what else he has to do, given that Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize 8 months into his tenure in his first presidency for basically making a couple of fancy speeches. But it seems people don't want to give him the Nobel Peace Prize because he's Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't think Donald Trump has an interest in peace. He just wants to get rid of problems and move on to the next thing. Again, we already had peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords, and we saw where that led. Now we've got whatever the ceasefire is, the 20-point plan. I think is kind of a joke. He came in saying that he was going to figure out all these issues on day one. He hasn't. He let Israel wage basically maximally the war they wanted to wage. They were able to eliminate essentially every enemy. All the top brass in Hamas, twice. They bombed Qatar. They got the United States to bomb Iran. They, Syrian regime, Bashar al-Assad, his regime collapsed. They killed Nasrallah. They got, rid of Hezbollah. The idea that Trump has come in and brokered peace after Israel has essentially eliminated all enemies, and then the peace that was brokered is this insanely one-sided favorable deal to the Israelis. I feel like they're just setting themselves up for some other terrorist attack in the future, and then we're all going to be scratching our heads looking around like, I can't believe this is happening again.
Tara,
Destiny, you won. You have Trump derangement syndrome. Congratulations. You
well, at least Destiny's here prepared to talk about it. The people.
You know what? Nadine is right. $7,000. I see it now. There's the. Is that a monthly payment or a yearly payment?
Honestly, I wish I got it. I really, really wish I did. If someone else is making it, I would love the directions of how I can get the money too.
Yeah, give me $7,000 a post.
But thus far, I haven't been offered, nor have I received. But thank you again for a baseless accusation.
Okay, to be clear, you just basically accused me of having Trump derangement syndrome. I think my criticism is pretty pointed. There is no concrete plan for what this is going to look like afterwards. Israel got to end the war. They got to eliminate all enemies. They're getting to do damage to the infrastructure of
By
the
the way,
West.
they didn't. Hamas is everywhere, all over Gaza, flaunting how they've won this.
What has Israel been doing for 2 years? They're still everywhere. How many more places do they need to bomb?
Did you see the video coming out of Gaza that Hamas is cheering and parading?
Well, I don't know how much more time you need. I don't know how many more bombs you have to drop. At some point, your war is over. You figured it out. You can't.
At some point, Hamas needs to surrender and demilitarize. Did you ever think about that?
Oh, well, a complete surrender demilitarized would have been a good thing for Trump to arrange more than, a year into his presidency. That's why I don't give him any credit for it.
All right, Tara, let me bring you in here because you're probably, I would say, the neutral member of the panel in many ways. It does seem there is a double standard about Trump, Nobel Peace Prize.
Deadlifts, it's a little. There's a lot of people with different opinions. I would say deadlifts are a good back builder. People who have very strong deadlifts, they have very big, strong, thick backs. So yeah, I would say deadlifts are a good back builder. It's just that they're very difficult to do under certain circumstances, like if you're dieting, especially if you're trying to get quite lean. They do come with a very high fatigue cost. But people with big deadlifts, they do have very large backs.
Prize credit for forging peace. I mean, do you think there is a double standard?
I do think, like you said, noted that President Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize in 8 months. It's probably more of a symbol in a lot of ways than what it actually represents. Will this actually lead to peace? I think he should apply again because the application date was around January when he was not even inaugurated. How could he be, how could he put his name forward before he's even president yet? And even in this case, it's a little early days. I think we need to see if there is actual peace. I mean, next week, this could all be broken. As we've said, Hamas has yet to give up its arms. Gaza is still occupied by Israel.
Yeah, there are lots of unanswered
really
questions. I do find it extraordinary that Bernie Sanders, for example, so vocal about Trump, right? Last week, in the last 7 days, 16 anti-Trump posts on his X account. He hasn't mentioned the Middle East at all. Bernie Sanders, a man who ran for president, hugely big figure in the United States political arena, hasn't mentioned this on his feed. All he's done is relentless Trump bashing about other stuff. And I'm like, it's so transparent that. You talk about Trump derangement syndrome. How does that manifest itself? If you are a senior politician in the United States and you can't find it in yourself, even Hillary Clinton gave Trump credit for this because she knows how difficult it is to get to this place. Yeah. I just think to Bernie Sanders, I asked him directly, what's stopping you saying something, anything? You're very vocal all day long about Trump. And the reason is he doesn't want to say anything positive about Trump. So he'd rather not talk about this incredibly historic moment in the Middle East, which is, an example of just how unhinged a lot of Trump's opponents become.
Well, this is all political theater at the backdrop.
Well, let's Tara respond.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it's the fact that it feeds President Trump's ego. They find him detestable. The fact that he needs these plaudits and awards. They don't like him as a person. It's political, obviously. But yeah, this is a big deal. He got Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office to apologize to Qatar.
Huge.
He created a relationship with the Israeli prime minister that no other president has in decades. And he was able to almost strong arm this moment that we got to right now. And yes, he deserves credit for it. But the whole question is, does it hold up? And that's why this year-long evaluation for his Nobel Peace Prize makes the most sense. He probably hates that he has to wait for it. But I think it will show if this holds up. And I think...
We slightly lost you there, Tara. Sorry, we lost you for a couple of seconds there.
On this issue, and that they're...
Tara, just repeat your last point because you were frozen.
Oh, yeah. I'll just finish on this last point if I have... Yeah, my last point is that I hope that this period of time that it will take for them to decide if he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize will keep him fixed on the Middle East and will not just be something he can check off and, say, I did this. That will make sure that there's actual follow-through on this 20-point plan.
Yeah, Brandon, do you feel there's a double standard when it comes to giving Trump credit for this kind of thing?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, I think Trump derangement is a real thing. I think these people, like for me, if there was a Democrat that negotiated this, I don't care how much I don't like these Democrats. I'd be like, this is great, man. That's a win. If Barack Obama does something good, that was great. I like when he do things well. It's our country. So I'm hoping that he gets victories. But you look at it. Look at what happened, Pierce. You see people that Trump has negotiated peace, the ones who claimed it was a genocide and their babies are dying, he's gotten it to stop, and they won't even celebrate that because they hate him so much. This should be a celebration, at least in part. Donald Trump is not God. And to be honest, the only threat of this backfiring is from the Palestinians and from Hamas. It's not like Israel's going to go back on it. They're going to do another terrorist attack. It's the fear. But, I hope that it works. And we should all be cheering for it to work. We should all be giving input on, what's the next step here? Because Trump can't control everything. But
no, I agree. And also, Emily, I just feel that it gives you much more credibility, whoever you are, if you're prepared to just look at the big picture and give your opponent credit where they deserve it. It just gives you more credibility. I think one of the problems of social media, it's got so tribal and so toxic that even when a new fact comes out about your side, which is obviously very damning or wrong, people will try and pretend it isn't because they think that shows weakness. When in fact, to actually criticize your own side from time to time or to credit the other side is a good thing for democracy. And I wish we could get back to a place where we could all do that quite freely. I criticize Trump quite regularly, but I praise him quite regularly. I think that's the right. I was the same with Obama. I just think that is the way a proper democracy works, right? But when people are so intransigent about giving any credit to someone like Donald Trump, whatever he does, I just think to me they lose credibility.
I mean, I think you can give credit. Just give credit where credit is due. There's been like 6 Israel-Gaza wars. 2008, 2014, Cast-led and Protective Edge. These were huge, wars that had ceasefires after them. The conflict has been never-ending. Well, basically since the inception of the state of Israel between Israel.
But we've never had this number, Destiny, of Arab and Muslim countries come together to team up in this way.
They haven't come together to team up. The letter that was written, the unifying letter, all of it was, we hope that they, abide by international law.
Well, no, they endorsed the Trump plan, though.
The words that they're using are saying, we hope that something actually comes to
pass.
This is like all the plans that Trump had, all the trade deals.
Well, I thought
the United States has no trade deals. There is no lasting peace right now between Israel and Gaza. This is like the framework of
Well, actually, America does have a lot of new trade deals.
We have none.
Well, actually, it has a lot.
0.
No, that's not true.
It's true. It's
not
zero.
true.
It's absolutely true.
Well, the UK, you're sitting in the United Kingdom. We have a trade deal.
You do not have a trade deal.
Yes, we do.
No, there is no trade deal. These things are not one page signed and posted on Twitter. They're extensive things that encompass entire markets that are tons of writing for. There's no trade deal.
We have agreed a 10% tariff on UK products to the United States. That is a trade deal.
That's not a trade deal. That's an entry on an Excel spreadsheet. A trade deal is a comprehensive market-encompassing thing that actually dictates terms that you can rely on for, decades to come. It's not a thing that can change on a whim.
But do you dispute that Trump has managed to negotiate a series of deals with countries which are, in terms of tariffs, more advantageous now to America than they were in January?
No, our prices on everything are going up.
That wasn't my question.
No, they're not advantageous. They're hurting the economy in every measurable way. Inflation is up. The amount of taxes now.
Why are stock markets at record highs?
Because the stock market always goes up. It was at a record highs under Obama. Of course it does. Every presidency.
When he launched his global tariff war, the stock market collapsed.
In the long term.
But now, having been promised Armageddon within 6 months, we've got to the point of 6 months, and the stock markets are higher than they were before he launched the tariff.
Not as high as it should be, but the stock market will tend upwards. That's how the stock market works.
But this is the thing. It takes time. Like Donald Trump is making an effort to do this, and it takes time to come to fruition. I hope that you will be cheering for it to come to fruition, and that Donald Trump is going to realize some of these things that he's put into place. Some of these negotiations will go through in a better way. Don't you wish that, Destiny? I think we all want that, right?
I don't know what anybody wants. We're talking about giving the Nobel Peace Prize, hopefully, to a guy who is declaring war on his own cities. I mean, I don't know what the actual goal is for anything.
You know how ridiculous that is?
I do. I agree. It is ridiculous. I'm glad we can agree on that. For him saying he's going to go to war with Chicago.
I was watching the citizen journalist Don Lemon out with his microphone, and he was talking to people in various cities about putting the National Guard on the streets. And you know what they all said, to his astonishment? They were all in favor of it.
I would be too if my city was overrun by crime and gangs and shootings and stabbings and murders.
If you feel the police is under-resourced and ineffective and is not protecting you, then I think people actually have rather liked the visibility of members of the National Guard on the streets. And people can call it the militarization, the creeping fascism, all these things, or they could actually ask the people that live in those places, how do you feel about having some National Guard people on the streets? They actually feel comforted by the visibility of National Guard on their streets. So maybe
the only people who don't like law enforcement are criminals. That's the reality.
Right. These are just politicians that are running their mouth. Just like Black Lives Matter when they want to defund the police. You ask people that live in the hood, they love the police. They want the police there. They get sick of their kids getting shot in the middle of the street. So most people, go to Chicago. Go to D.C. Remember when they were protesting D.C.? A bunch of white people. The majority of D.C. population is black. None of the black people are out there protesting. It's a bunch of leftist nut jobs and politicians who are pushing this agenda. Most people want to be safe. The property value goes up when it's safe. Stores come into the community. The economy is boosted. Your schools are better. No person on earth want crime.
What the fuck is wrong with this nigga?
Yeah, he always does that. Yeah, he always grabs people's hands and won't let go. I don't know why people let him play that game, because, he's 80 years old. They could probably just crush his hand.
Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did.
Yeah, sure.
Like to that? What does that mean? Do you like to visit Argentina? Soon?
I do. I would love to. I'm just a little busy. I'd love to go to Argentina. I'd like to be like Biden. I'd like to go to the beach. My legs are not quite as thin as his. My legs are slightly heavier. My arms are slightly larger. My body is a little bit larger than his. I'm not sure it would be appreciated on the beach, but I'm not going to take a chance. You won't see me in a bathing suit. You won't see in a bathing suit sitting on a beach in Argentina, falling down, not being able to lift a 3-ounce chair, meant for old people to lift, and he couldn't lift it, so we had a problem. He spent too much time on a beach. Somebody told him that he looked good in a bathing suit.
Jeez. What a weirdo. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Watch this anime, nigga.
I already have. Castlevania Nocturne was fucking stupid. Especially towards the end, it literally made no fucking sense. Why in the fuck can vampires use that machine that makes them, superpowered? It made no sense. It was stupid. It was a bad story. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo.
to be rampant in their cities. And when their politicians do nothing, then Trump has to step in.
All right, let me give the last word to Nadine. How do you see things in the next 2-3 years in Gaza, in the West Bank, in that region?
I think Trump addressing the Knesset today just proves how absurd this whole conversation is. He bragged about moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. He rewarded Israel's illegal annexation. He praised Miriam Adelson while also calling her Israel first.
But he also went to Egypt after the Knesset. He also went to Egypt. So, yes, he was at the Knesset. Yes, he got celebrated for getting the hostages released. That's inevitable. But he also then went to Egypt immediately, right? So, I look at the totality of what Trump has done on this very quick visit, and he's going to both sides. He understands you only get to peace by talking and sitting down and doing deals with all warring partners, right? It's the only way you do it.
I mean, what we've seen is the Palestinian resistance today are the orphans of the past Israeli incursions on Gaza, on the West Bank. The number of Hamas militants, just like, the pro-Israel commentators here said, hasn't actually decreased since October 2023. It's just about staying the same. So I think as long as you think that you can't bomb people into peace, you can't bomb people into submission, and Palestinians will continue to resist no matter what, because they are facing a genocidal baby-killing machine that is built on the blood of our people, that's built on the blood
and they're going to keep getting their butts kicked.
My village in Palestine was annexed 3 weeks ago. Not a single establishment or legacy media outlet has covered it. Beit was annexed. You can search this up. And as long as we continue to be dispossessed through our lands, denied the right of return, and
so again, this bitch is a fucking coward. Like, what she's saying is, oh, all you poor, broke, retarded, insane, Islamists in Gaza, do all the killing for me. I live in a nice, sheltered country where I don't have to deal with any of this, but keep fighting the Zionists. Go, kill the Zionists. And then as soon as Israel retaliates, genocide. These people are just fucking disgusting. They're encouraging broke, poor, deranged people to waste their lives for them.
Slaughtered mercilessly, whether in Gaza, whether in the West Bank, or even 48 citizens, Palestinian citizens of Israel.
Do you think you can beat baby steps? I think I can.
Palestinians are only going to continue to fight that. That is just human nature. That is just human nature.
All right, we will see.
Sorry, before we go, I want to remind you that you had Nardine and I on right after October 7th.
I remember, yeah.
Off the bat, you asked her, do you condemn October 7th? She said no. She hardly condemned 9/11. Now that we're seeing each other again face to face, Nardine,
I was in second grade when 9/11 happened. You are a pro-Israel hack.
You about condemning 9/11.
$7,000. Larry Ellison can buy TikTok.
Nardine, you are not pro-Palestine. You are pro-Hamas. Because when Hamas is slaughtering all the Gazans right now, you're silent. Hamas is killing Palestinians right now, and you are silent because you're not pro-Palestine.
Okay, we're going to say it's good to see the time. Time out. It is good to see that you two have moved on with your relationship since you last appeared on the panel together, and that there is a new harmony to it, which was lacking last time.
That was Israel Palestine in a nutshell, right there.
You know what? Actually, yes, and that's where we need to get.
Israel, Palestine.
Okay.
My people, my land, and you just have a ridiculous.
Unusually for when a panel includes destiny, he's ended with the most prescient point of all, probably the most pertinent point of all, which actually, in a way, that is the problem. And we need to get to a place where we can have mutual.
Trump after one meeting with Lord vegangains.
As China deepens its presence in Latin America, what role do you see for the U.S.
I just like to watch your talk.
Sorry, no?
Okay. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Good job. Thank you, darling.
Okay, thanks for the donation, CDG.
Respect, and actually, I believe one day that will be a two-state solution.
The starting point is not like
70,000 Palestinians in counting. Probably a lot more than that. I think that number's much higher.
All right, I'm gonna leave it there, but thank you very much indeed, all of you, for the debate. I appreciate it. 1 week ago, Katie Porter was measuring Gavin Newsom's curtains as a poll showed her with a commanding lead in the race to become California's next governor. Then,
well, that was nice and retarded.
Guys asked me to review this video by Alex Leonidas. It's called "What I Eat in a Day to Stay Lean and Jacked."
What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you a much-awaited video. Full day of eating with Alex Leonidas. As many
they are not visible with the eye, obviously, anyway, but also with any tools. But this is a whole different topic. I just wanted to point out that really this is irrelevant, but I understand why people talk about this. Yeah.
So you will not be deficient in anything. So you see the numbers on the screen, you can pull.
Well, that's the thing. It's much more important to rely on your own senses, in this case your eyes. And if a human being doesn't look healthy, then no matter what micronutrients or whatever you want to talk about, whatever kind of beliefs,
I don't know how Alex looks unhealthy.
it's not gonna matter. If you look at a vegan, 99% of the time they will not look healthy. There's very few exceptions to this, and it's usually people who just started a few weeks or months ago. They may still look fine. Yeah. I don't know how
Yeah.
they use the label wild, and by that they actually mean he hasn't. Biome. He just, again, says stuff.
Whatever. Can't be
Hooper.
fucked.
And these are the videos that I've made on Mitchell Hooper. The reason that we're all here today is because Mitchell put up a video titled My Shocking Realization at the Olympia. Little AI picture that says teen steroid epidemic. And now I've been very critical of Mr. Hooper, and the dude has a lot of influence. He's got 444,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's got I don't know how many people on Instagram because he's blocked me at this point. But I want to get out of the way right up front, and I'm going to say this a couple times within the video that I agree with the sentiment of what he's saying here. But without the full disclosure of what Mitchell Hooper has done and is doing, it all kind of will land on deaf ears. Brad Lambert 7039 already has stated, Mitchell, at 30 years old, I think a bit of your own transparency is warranted here, along with the information that you are providing. This is a common theme in these types of posts. If a kid asks, do I have to take performance-enhancing drugs to become the world's strongest man, how honest would you be with the answer to that question? So remember,
Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see.
304 kicked out who wants Brian killed like Charlie Kirk. Damn.
What's your body count?
Probably like 100.
Okay, hold on.
I don't even know if I know 100 people. And then she said probably like, I guess if you hit 100, you just stop counting, I guess.
You also said that, hold on, we're going to come back to this, but you said you got involved with an older guy. You were together for 2 months, and the first night you guys hooked up, what happened?
We may have did a little too many drugs, and I got knocked up.
Okay.
That's
what
all.
else? What else?
I don't know. I decided
else
to
could
have
it
an
be?
abortion because
Oh, man.
I didn't want to have a kid.
Good. Thank fuck. Just random vids donated $2. Let me see. That's a very pretty dog. That's a nice dog. Wow. Oh, that's a nice kitty. My goodness. Oh. Oh, they're so nice. Those are nice animals. This actor uses TRT for Peacemaker. Well, yeah, I know. I've already seen the clip. He's not just on TRT. He takes performance-enhancing drugs. Like, he's talked about using Anavar. So, Tate reads...
Kamala Harris just admitted in her new book that I was one of the reasons she lost. And I've been saying for a very long time that the reason the liberals and the Democrats have been trying to put me in jail is because I can affect elections. And now Kamala's saying, yes, Andrew wasn't in jail. So he's one of the reasons why I lost the election. Read her book. She says it herself.
I don't know if that's true or if he heard that from somebody. I haven't seen the book. Thanks for the donation, though. Just random vids.
Good.
Yeah.
That's all
And
that
then
happened.
what about the STD?
Oh, yeah. So that's a crazy story. So imagine getting knocked up and then you also get chlamydia from the guy. Like, that's just, like, crazy. Like, that baby could have had chlamydia. So, like, I was like, I'm going to abort this baby because I just feel like that's not in my morality to, like, bring a child into the world considering the current day.
Oh, it's crazy how as soon as the consequences for your act...
Whatever.
remember all of that as I play a little bit of the video and fill you in with the proper context between Mitchell Hooper's words.
Kids are taking steroids at unprecedented levels, and I saw this walking around Mr. Olympia, and I asked...
Good. Honestly, I think it's a good thing that more teenage kids are using gear. Shows you that they're actually thinking for themselves. Retard donated $3. Let me see.
Against Taiwan, it's highly likely that China will force the junior partner in that relationship, being Russia, under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, to move against NATO here, to keep us busy. For all these reasons, we have to make sure that we work as strongly together with them. And then on the hybrid threats, this is, of course, a big worry. And
makes sense. Jeez. Yeah. They're not happy with Putin. Let's see what Hezbollah is up to in Lebanon. Yeah, that's why you don't import any Muslims.
Well, they're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. Okay? Now, we did something monumental. We got the...
Yeah, they're not going to disarm. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Some of the kids themselves and some of the coaches of these kids. What's the prevalence of taking steroids of people in your friend group who go to the gym every day? And they literally said it's about 1 in 2. That was the consistent answer, about 50%. And that's a self-reported 50%. So guess what? It's probably like 75% of regular gym goers as teens are doing drugs.
The manipulation of meth in Mitchell's mind there is amazing. Imagine the year is 1999 and Mitchell Hooper sitting behind his computer screen. He's putting together this video after having just attended Woodstock. I walked around Woodstock and I asked all of these people if they use soap and water. The reason that I asked all of these people is because it was just so stinky. What I found out is that 1 out of 2 of them never even heard of a bar of soap before. And they said, yeah, none of their friends know what it is either. And then he sits behind his computer screen and he goes, I'm gonna guess that 75% of the people in the world don't use soap and water. And you're gonna base that metric off of one of the dirtiest festivals that has ever seen the face of the planet Earth?
Let's talk about side effects and long-term side effects.
Oh, great. This must be where you're going to do a deep dive about your history of using performance-enhancing drugs, right, Mitchell?
Physical long-term side effects. We're talking acne. We're talking oily skin. We're talking early fused growth plates. We're talking dysregulated hormones for the entirety of your life.
Now, Mitchell mentions 4 things in 6.
Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see.
Support banning women from higher education and repealing the 19th Amendment.
Repealing the 19th Amendment, for sure. I don't think women should vote.
That's all, that's fine.
And I know some people, instead of laughing, let me explain why. If you're going to vote, you need to have skin in the game. If you're going to vote, you can effectively put in the commander-in-chief of the United States who can, obviously send armed forces over to other countries.
Women have to apply for the draft now, so this argument's irrelevant at this point.
And get involved in wars. Now, here's the problem. Women don't have to join the Selective Service.
They do.
I'm sure a lot of women here probably don't even know what the Selective Service is. And I find it ridiculous that a woman could put someone into office that will send a man to war when she doesn't have skin in the game. And let's be honest here, most women don't really care.
This would also apply for anybody who's like over 30. This would also apply for anybody with a disability. So that would include trans people. Are gay people still allowed to serve, or did they only ban trans people? Anybody who has like a variety of mental health issues, anybody with physical conditions. Like Trump got out of service by claiming he had bone spurs. So like that would disqualify like probably the majority of the country from voting. Like, it's just stupid.
Care about politics. If they do vote, they typically tend to vote left. They tend to vote single issue voters on.
Yeah, so if you're over 30, you shouldn't be allowed to vote because you're not going to qualify for the draft. This is stupid. And what he's saying here is wrong. Women have to apply for the draft now. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo.
Just saw the new Tron movie, was really good. Better than I thought it would be. Since your buddy is moving in, Should we expect you both to do a stream together? Would be cool.
Yeah, we're going to do streams together. Thanks for the donation, Alan. There is no chance in hell I am going to watch the new Tron movie. Like, no fucking chance. I just do not give two fucking shits.
Session right there without mentioning which ones are going to be affecting you for the rest of your life. The thing about using anabolics in particular is the second you stop them, you usually stop seeing the acne, oily skin, which he should have bunched into one, but he made it part of his forward.
Psychologically, we've got major mood disorders with anxiety and depression. It is going to fuel the fire.
That is completely untrue. Testosterone is a mood enhancer. It prevents depression, anxiety. It is probably the single most effective drug for treating depression and anxiety, which a lot of psychiatrists either don't know about or don't want you to know about. And again, testosterone is the backbone of any steroid cycle. So anybody who's taking steroids who has like actual access to these drugs, they're not just... They don't just have some buddy who has D-ball, you know. All these kids are ordering steroids online. That's where you get them these days. So they're all doing cycles with testosterone. And again, this whole like notion that, oh, you're going to have anxiety and mood disorders and blah, blah, blah. That is a possibility with certain anabolic drugs. I know some people report having depression with boldenone, which I'm on right now. I haven't experienced any depression with boldenone. I found it has a calming effect. And some of the mood dysregulation that's reported with some of these drugs, like boldenone, it has to do with how they affect estrogen. So if you crush your estrogen levels with boldenone, that could very likely trigger anxiety, depression. If you know how to use these drugs properly, that won't be an issue. So if you balance the boldenone properly with testosterone, you very likely will not have that issue. And on top of that, you could just stop taking them. So like if you're taking testosterone, feel great, and then you add in like boldenone or nandrolone or name whatever fucking steroid, you can just take out the drug that you're having a bad reaction to. Like, it's fucking stupid. It's like if you go out, like, drinking with your friends for the first time, and then you realize, oh, man, alcohol sucks. I feel like shit. I really didn't enjoy that. You don't have to drink alcohol again. Same with weed. If for whatever reason you don't like weed, it makes you paranoid, you don't have to do weed anymore. Like, you don't have to do any particular drug that you have a bad reaction to. You can just stop. So, like this fear-mongering about, like, oh, it can cause anxiety, depression. Well, you can just stop and then you won't have that, like, symptom anymore. It's just stupid.
Don't have to join selective service, dumbass nigger. Is your mind too niggerish to fucking use Google? They don't, that's why these bitches shouldn't vote. They fucked Joe the whole world.
Didn't they change this recently? I thought under Joe Biden they changed it. I don't know how old this is. Maybe I'm wrong. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo. I think the only genuine concern for steroid use for teenagers would be early closure of growth plates. So if you're taking any anabolic that aromatizes or impacts estrogen in some way, that could stunt your growth. So, like by the way, a lot of teenagers like reach their peak adult height in their teens. So by the time you're 18, 19, a lot of people have already reached their peak adult height. And secondly, there are anabolic steroids that are prescribed to children for growth disorders. You can look up the research on Anavar. Anavar is used in children to treat children with stunted growth. That kid, Richard Sandrak, who was like little Hercules, who was like abused by his dad and was forced to exercise like 8 hours a day. His dad was feeding him fucking Anavar. And he grew up, went through puberty just fine, seems normal. So the shit with teenagers taking steroids is overblown. I wouldn't recommend it for a variety of reasons. But I would say the main concern would be closure of growth plates. But once you reach your full adult height, who fucking cares? The only other concern really would be just their ability to use these drugs safely. So, you know, are they going to be able to get regular blood work? Are they going to be able to know like what compounds they should and shouldn't be using at certain times? There's those sorts of issues where you're talking about like the possibility for abuse is higher with like stupid kids that don't have a developed frontal lobe. But as far as like direct health related issues from steroids, it's just overblown. The main concern would be early closure growth plates. I gotta go take a pee and possibly a poop, but I'll be right back. Oh. All right. I took a shit. Oh, that was a good poop. Very efficient. Didn't have to wipe too much.
I have never started a war. Where is my Nobel Peace Prize?
Who cares about the Nobel Peace Prize? It's not like you get any money for it. Thanks for the donation, Ben Boy.
So Israel has already broken the ceasefire today, and the IOF have killed 7 civilians. Now you can't use the hostages as your bullshit excuse for this genocide. Fuck Israel, free Palestine.
Wissam Gaza now in Palestine. So this is just from some dumbass pro-Pally outlet. Open fire, killing 5 Palestinians, drone strikes, da-da-da. Wasn't Hamas committing mass executions of suspected Israeli collaborators? I don't know if it has anything to do with that. Thanks for the donation, dumbass.
Zelensky comes Friday and Trump will likely approve their transfer and make a big show of it. Do you think Ukraine ends up mogging Russia in the end? I think they're gonna be able to take back Crimea.
Welcome back, Defender.
Maybe we'll watch that later. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ukraine's gonna end up mogging Russia. It's not looking good for them. Putin's already doing some pretty desperate shit where he's saying Trump should get a Nobel Peace Prize, so thanks for the donation, retard.
So if bitches don't gotta register, why do they get to vote, nigga? You telling me these OnlyFans TikTok whores can vote my half-black mulatto ass to war while they get to sit home and spread commie bullshit to the world? Repeal the 19th, fuck these whores.
It's kind of weird that people are concerned with that when women, generally speaking, are very much anti-war. So I don't think that's like why would that be a concern? And you don't vote for a war, you vote for a candidate. Like, there's a lot of issues with that whole line of reasoning. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
Hear ye gather round. Hear ye, hear ye. I'm as hungry as a worm. I am as hungry as a worm. I'm not a worm, but I am as hungry as a worm. This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt. I'm as hungry as a worm. Happy Pie Boy.
Okay. Maybe you should snack on something. Thanks for the donation, Happy Pie Boy. Cash prize for the Nobel Peace Prize is 11 million Swedish kroner, which is equivalent to 1.17 million. Oh,
Today
damn.
is 8 months lifting. Here is the current physique. I think in a year or two I could be a seriously large vegan lad.
You are getting bigger. I can definitely tell. You're definitely looking more thick, and your shoulders and traps are more built. Well, good job, dude. Thanks for the donation, Sky.
And it's fueling a fire that the gym should be solving.
This is insane for a few reasons. Anabolics don't have these effects on people unless you've got predisposition to be depressed and anxiety ridden. Again, he also misses the opportunity to tell everybody how it has affected him. As the world's strongest man, you have used anabolics.
Is this true?
How did they affect you? What did they do to your brain? Why aren't you telling us? Why can't you?
Well, it's because if he answered that honestly, he'd say they make him feel great, which is why he decided to pursue strongman. Like, does it make sense that if, in order to do a sport, you have to do high doses of anabolic steroids, and it makes you depressed, anxiety-ridden, you feel terrible, you're paranoid all the time, you hate life? No. Obviously, these drugs are making him feel good, and he likes the lifestyle. That's why he keeps doing it. So, the guy's a lying, manipulative jackass. And again, if these drugs... Like, look, there has to be some kind of benefit that you're getting from any kind of drug to keep doing it. Like, as bad as like heroin or crystal meth or, you know, you name it, any hard drug is, clearly the people who keep using it are getting some kind of benefit from the drug that they really enjoy. So if these kids are using fucking steroids, you can say what you want about steroids, but clearly they're making these kids feel good. Like that's just what they do. They make you feel good. You feel better. Like I'm on them. So they like, especially testosterone. There's a ton of human research on testosterone. Probably the most it is the most well-researched steroid. It is proven to be highly effective, probably the most highly effective drug at improving mood and treating symptoms of depression and anxiety. So like this fucking narrative that he's trying to spew is just complete and utter bullshit. I don't know why the fuck he has to lie about it. Like, again, just ask yourself, if these drugs are so horrible, why do these kids keep doing them? Would you keep doing a drug if it made you feel horrible? Like, I remember after my second bodybuilding show, you know, this was when I was vegan. After my second bodybuilding show, I was like really horribly depressed. And my grandmother drinks alcohol. She had some like alcohol tucked away in a corner, and I was like, you know, fuck it. You know, I just finished the bodybuilding show, wasn't feeling great, and I was just playing Call of Duty. So I figured I'd take a few shots. I can't remember what it was. It was like gin or something. So I took a few shots of gin, fucking hated it. Not only did it taste bad, but I just felt fucking horrible. It made me feel more depressed. Never fucking touched alcohol again. Why would I keep doing a drug that makes me feel terrible? So, like, it's like these stupid fucking drug PSAs that tell you, oh, marijuana makes you go insane. If you smoke marijuana, you're gonna like go crazy and and it's gonna make you kill your friends. Like that fucking movie Reefer Madness. Who the fuck are you going to convince? Like, just about every teenage kid now knows someone who's on steroids. You're not fucking convincing anybody of this fucking bullshit. So the truth is, steroids make you feel fucking great. I would know since I'm fucking on them. There is a ton of fucking human research on them, particularly testosterone. Clear mood benefits. That is unfucking disputable, and there doesn't seem to be an upper limit to that benefit. That's being explored in research anyway. The more testosterone you take, the better men report to feel. So this guy is just lying because he thinks if he spreads this lie, fewer kids are going to be encouraged to take them. But again, it's like the film Reefer Madness. Like, once kids know you're lying, like, they're obviously not going to listen to you. So Mitchell Hooper is just a fucking idiot. Like, it's never a good idea to lie about this sort of shit. Like, the good idea is to give people accurate, useful information so they can make an informed decision on these things. If I was going to tell a kid whether or not they should take steroids, I would say, well, look, you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to get more jacked, but there are issues with these drugs. You're probably too young to use them responsibly. They may affect your fertility in the long run. It's unlikely, but they may affect your fertility. In higher doses, they can cause sexual dysfunction, even if you're just on testosterone. And it can be hard to manage that. You might have to go on HCG. You might have to take aromatase inhibitors. You may have to take some other ancillary drugs or anabolics to balance some of your hormones so that your erections can function properly. A lot of dudes on TRT have this problem where they have to figure out how to balance their estrogen and shit. And then, you also have to manage things like blood pressure, and, you have to know how to deal with acne. And again, navigating all this when you're a teenager and you don't really have much money for, blood work and all this other stuff, probably not a good idea for you to be on right now. They can do what they want with that information. They can make an informed choice. So, like, is it better to just say, oh no, they're bad, they're going to make you go crazy and kill all your friends and you're going to hate your life? They probably know, like, 8 people at the gym that are on steroids, and they just know that's not true. So they're just going to take it. Mitchell Hooper's a fucking dumbass lying fucktard.
Whether they are pro or anti-war is irrelevant. If they don't share the same burden of responsibility, why do they express the same level of authority as men in voting politicians who have the ability to send men off into war? Dumbass nigger.
I don't fucking care, dude. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
You make this video better for everybody who wants to engage with it. This is a common reoccurring thing in the videos that I made on Mitch in the past. If you were more transparent, it would give your videos much more validity.
And most people wants to use the gym to improve their mental health.
No, dude. Most people go to the gym to work on their physical health. But it really does say quite a bit about you thinking that most people go there for their mental health, doesn't it?
You pull every 17-year-old who's at the Olympia, and you put them next to me, and I'm the least shredded person.
You're an off-season strongman. You've had no reason to be one of the most shredded people there.
Not that I'm incredibly shredded. I am incredibly shredded, but there's a lot of haters out there who claim that I'm not.
You could have edited this out, dude. You would have saved yourself from looking super insecure with doing so as well.
They are literally all like veins all over them. Every single one of them has a shredded six-pack, which is cool. I mean, it's great. It looks good, but the consequence is far greater than looking cool for a couple of years as a teenager.
Again, the premise of the video is he's not telling you the entire picture. He's sitting on his platform that is entirely derived from having abused and used anabolics for a number of years to become the world's strongest man. We mentioned his YouTube following and his Instagram following. Those people aren't there if for the past number of years you didn't gas yourself to the gills to become Mitchell Hooper as everyone knows you.
Just if you get a cool car, it's going to do the same thing, to be honest.
So you're advocating for all the teenagers to just go and get a cool car because all of this is about looking cool? Right back to the mental health thing. Says a lot about Mitch. All of this is about looking cool. You could actually help people if you actually told them the full picture about why you're actually making this video.
25 years old is when males develop a prefrontal cortex enough to understand long-term consequences. Many of us...
That is not true.
Never understand long-term consequences, but
your frontal cortex doesn't just have the ability to, like, it's not just for understanding long-term consequences. Most of what it does is impulse control. So when you're younger and your frontal cortex isn't fully developed, you have poor impulse control. So if somebody irritates you, you're more likely to lash out, start a fight. That's why you see so many, like, kids fighting in a schoolyard over something stupid. And you see it still happens, but less often. Adults don't really act like that. So it's not about understanding long-term consequences, it's about impulse control. So he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about fucking anything.
Trump is so creepy. Imagine being groped by his gross, bruised, blood-lacking hands. Imagine him in the hospital getting fore placement and then asking the nurse to remove it and then grabbing her pussy while she does it. Fucking weirdo ass incel MF.
Yeah, he is very creepy. Thanks for the donation, Ben Boy.
Researchers say 25 years old is when we're supposed to understand.
I don't know if he's trying to be funny here, maybe he's trying to be funny here, but he contradicts himself. Researchers say that at the age of 25, you know everything. No one ever knows anything, but 25 is the age. But no, you never know anything, so what is it?
So anything younger than 25, you shouldn't even have your own opinion.
Mitch just lost half of his fan base. And if you follow any of the Mitchell Hooper content, you'll know that he lost the age groups over 30 a couple months ago. What's up, everybody? Today we're diving into the Olympic level hypocrisy of the individual known as Mitchell Hooper, aka the world's strongest man, aka the individual with the world's weakest commitment. So a few months ago, Mitchell Hooper got up onto his high horse, probably deadlifted the thing for reps, and proudly declared that he had no skeletons in his closet, which is wild because he probably just had them in the maid of honor's bedroom instead. My man went from being Mr. Clean to Mr. Can't Keep It in his pants faster than a CrossFit AMRAP. The dude cheated on his wife with the maid of honor. That's not a Hallmark plot line, that's straight up Jerry Springer for lifters. lifters. But wait, it gets heavier than his deadlift PR. Before the whole circus, he shamed another strongman for doing the exact same thing. Gave the whole moral TED talk on loyalty. Had the audacity to talk like he was the ethical CEO of sport. And it turns out he was just projecting harder than an IMAX theater. Now the internet is melting down, and deservedly so. You can't pose as the patron saint of integrity and then raw dog betrayal like it's an accessory lift. I bet he doesn't even know what his next PR is going to be, but I'd bet that it's going to be the most bridges burned in a press cycle. Let's just hope that his next accessory day includes accountability. That's it. Stay safe out there. And remember, if you're going to try to be a role model, maybe don't start by banging in the bridal party.
Or I suppose you shouldn't have your own opinion on things that could cause long-term consequence because you don't understand.
Yo, Mitch, I bet that you didn't wish that you started strongman in the year 2020 as a 25-year-old. I really bet that you wish that someone would have stopped you from using performance-enhancing drugs when you started strongman, right?
Now, yes, you have to choose to go to university at 18 and what degree you're going to take and what's your career going to be. It's not a good thing. It doesn't work. It literally does not work. Ask all your friends who went to university or older friends, what are they doing now? 90% of them will laugh about how their degree is useless.
Now, I might have a bunch of friends that are in the engineering field or that they're educators, but he's just saying that don't go to school. One of the things he's going to tell you on his platform with 444,000 people is that don't go to school.
When we look at 10 to 80 years old or so, here's the chart here. It's absolutely exponential. It goes through the roof.
Now, I told you that I would remind everybody that I'm agreeing with the sentiment that young people should not use anabolics. It's going to mess with your hormones. You're going to regret it for the rest of your life. In most cases, unless you're that rare type like the Mitchell Hoopers, like the Chris Bumsteads, like the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, those are the rock stars and superstars. But the younger crowd, they definitely reap the rewards. You got the Trend Twins out there reaping the rewards. You have the Sam Suliks out there reaping the rewards. All younger generation people who are gassed out of their freaking brains and they're picking up all of this camaraderie, notoriety. But the thing about showing that chart right there is that there's a visual drop-off in testosterone at the age of 25 for every single one of those people referenced. And theoretically, wouldn't it make the most sense if you had some sort of ambitious goal to start using anabolics at the age of like 20, 21 before you see that drop?
And there's no sense in putting fuel on a very volatile fire. The most volatile human beings on the planet are males from 14 to 20 years old, and statistically.
So, by the way, your average 25 to 30-year-old has the same testosterone as your average 70-year-old. So, men's testosterone levels are so low right now that if you're 25 to 30, there's a good chance that, like, somebody around the age of your grandfather has the same level of testosterone as you. So, is it such a bad thing that dudes are going on testosterone and like maybe experimenting with other anabolics? They probably would qualify if, you know, if doctors knew what the fuck they were even doing. They would probably qualify for testosterone replacement therapy to begin with. So it's kind of silly.
This is true.
Oh yes, the stats. Very easy way for you to offload responsibility with the words that you're saying, of course without mentioning or referencing what stats you're pulling from. So when I googled what demographic of human is statistically the most violent, key findings in recent US data: black males aged 15 to 24 in the 2000 to 2019 time period, not the ones that Mitchell gave,
are males from 14 to 20 years old.
And it also references that black males aged 25 to 44 are the group's homicide rate being the highest. But again, there's context that needs to be given here. Also given to me by Google, but not by Mitchell. Socioeconomical disadvantage, residential segregation, social disorganization, cultural factors. Mitch wants to just chalk all of this up to purely the fact that they have out of whack hormones. It's disingenuous at the least. And he's presenting it as fact.
What's interesting is lead exposure has actually been highly linked to crime. Crack has also been linked to crime, but lead exposure is actually a huge correlate with crime. So all the leaded gasoline that was used, from 1960s up until around the 1990s, that was likely largely responsible for the big increase in crime over that time period. You won't find any statistics showing any relationship between steroid use and violent crime. And again, I can speak from my own personal experience. Steroids have made me more calm, more friendly. I've noticed that when I'm just out in public, if people talk to me, I'm like more willing to engage in conversations and shit, and I don't just say, okay, that's nice, bye, I gotta get going. Like, so it's just silly. And I'm convinced people think tests makes things worse is because the way doctors prescribe it does make you feel way worse. Well, yeah, they shame you and like give you all this bullshit about how it's dangerous and all this crap. Anybody who's ever done these drugs will fucking tell you, like, they just don't do this.
Actual law at the most.
We're throwing testosterone on a testosterone-fueled fire. It's going to result in bad things.
Yeah, like cheating on your pregnant wife with the bridesmaid, right?
It's just so stupid. There's no link whatsoever to testosterone and crime.
Right?
Building muscle isn't like getting...
By the way, what's funny when he says this, women are far more likely to commit intimate partner violence. So when you look at intimate partner violence between heterosexual couples, lesbian couples, and gay couples have the lowest rate of intimate partner violence. Heterosexual couples are intermediate, and lesbian couples have the highest rate of intimate partner violence by far. And that also makes you question, why do heterosexual couples have higher rates of intimate partner violence compared to gay couples? Is it may have something to do with the women in these relationships doing something to instigate the violence, where like a woman might smack a guy across the face or like hit him over the head with a frying pan or like some shit like that, where they're the ones to initiate it. And then obviously the guy is going to react either to defend himself or just, you know, to retaliate because they don't appreciate that normal human reaction. So, like, when he's saying, oh, testosterone makes you violent, then why the fuck are women more likely to commit intimate partner violence? Lesbians do not have higher testosterone levels than gay men. Like, so it's just such a stupid, fucking ridiculous narrative. And by the way, just think of how sexist this is. This is communist, retarded fucking brain rot. It is making you feel ashamed to be a man. You should be ashamed about having testosterone. It's better to have low testosterone because it makes you a more civilized member of society. Testosterone's bad. Being a man causes violence. It hurts people. But then when you look at the reality, women are more likely to commit intimate partner violence. Women are more violent to their partners. Men who are on testosterone report feeling better, have improved mood, and do not have increased aggression. Like, this guy's gay.
Strong.
Oh boy.
Kind of goes without saying.
Huh?
Building strength is a skill. Building muscle is a physiological process.
Wait a minute. Isn't it both a skill and a physiological process for both building muscle and for building strength? Wouldn't it be all of the above?
This physiological process isn't getting strong, of course.
Did you just contradict yourself again? Are you saying it is both after having said it went without saying that it was neither? Is this guy serious?
But the physiological process in building muscle takes a lot longer.
Can you tell me why the best arm wrestlers in the world are all like 40, 50 years old? He can't tell me, but I know that it's basically the tendon strength and getting stronger over all of the years. It's very hard for a 20-year-old arm wrestler to beat a 30 or 40-year-old arm wrestler because they've gone through the wear and tear and they've built up the strength to be the best. Again, just speak like you know everything, Mitch.
And that's why the average age of a Mr. Olympia winner is 33 years old. The average age of a World's Strongest Man winner is 29 years old.
Can't make this up. Mitch puts up a picture of himself, 29-year-old strongman champion. The only thing that he had to do was be honest about when he started using anabolics. You didn't hold that trophy without him, Mitch. When did you start? I also went into ChatGPT and I found the last 20 winners of the World's Strongest Man. It says it's 29.7 years old. I'm gonna give Mitchell a little dose of his own medicine. I'm gonna reference Arnold Schwarzenegger's first win at the age of 23. I think he went on to go and win 7 more, so right there tells you that the majority of his wins were under the age of 29. And if you want another one, everyone's favorite Chris Bumstead won his first at the age of 24. He of course won 6 consecutive, his final being at the age of 29, which is still below the average given to me by ChatGPT over the course of the last 20 World's Strongest Men. So your point's disproven with just my little knowledge right there.
These shortcuts are completely useless when it comes to bodybuilding.
You're telling me that using anabolics is a useless shortcut when it comes to building muscle?
You've got to be kidding me.
Have you seen bodybuilders? This can't be a serious statement.
If you're trying to be a...
This reminds me of the Bioneer. He is literally being as stupid as the Bioneer. He is doing the thing the Bioneer does, where he tries to discourage people from using steroids by saying they just don't work. Then why do you take them, you dumb motherfucker? Like, this is so stupid. No, I mean, they limit your levels to like 700, give you the whole month dose in one shot, so you have terrible hormone stability. It feels awful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially if you don't go to a TRT clinic and you just go to some dumbass fuckwit doctor who's probably a chick. Yeah, they're gonna do that.
World champion at 25 years old and you're starting at 16, that's not gonna happen.
I forgot that everyone started becoming a world champion at the ripe age of 25 years old. I know we're talking anabolic specific here, performance enhancing drugs, but could you imagine the Michael Jordans of the world just starting at the age of 25? This is where it all begins. Tell that to Sam Sulik.
Hold off for whatever you choose to do until you're well into your 20s. That is the recipe for success.
And how do you know? Are you going to tell us when you started using them? Did you start using them at 26? Was it 25 when you started competing in strongman, or was it before that? Like I said, it's the theme of the video, bro.
And
So, communist countries like Russia and China, they have whole systems of recruiting athletes and training them from a young age, and they have whole drug protocols that have been developed to ensure that they win the most amount of Olympic gold medals. They figured out the earlier you start steroids, the better. It's just true. Androgen receptors become more sensitive and upregulate, so you have more time to get sensitivity to androgens, more time to grow and get stronger. And your athletic performance in most sports is going to peak at a pretty early age too, especially when you're talking about speed and power production. So the earlier you can use, the better if you're primarily focused on being a competitive athlete. Doesn't mean it's the healthiest for you, but if you're primarily focused on being a competitive athlete, again, look at the drug and training protocols that Russia and China have developed. They put they put teenage kids on fucking steroids, and it works. They win Olympic gold medals doing this shit. So it's just fucking silly for him to say this, to say, oh, they're not going to do anything for you and they're bad and you have to wait till your mid-20s. Like, no, that's not how that works. The younger you're able to take them, and the longer you're able to take them, the better. It's just the reality.
The end result is you're not even going to be the best bodybuilder you could be or the best strength athlete you could be. You're accomplishing literally nothing other than being a slightly cooler 17-year-old or 18-year-old.
Again, this is kind of fine, but the way that you're presenting it just sucks. People aren't trying to just be cooler.
And the problem is it is slightly cooler to be bigger, leaner, and more attractive, of course. But you gotta understand the long-term consequences.
Why are you always backpedaling everything you say? You basically just gave everyone a half green light to go ahead and take them whenever they want.
The people around you, and if you're watching this, if you're around people under 25 strength training on a regular basis, you have to take care of them.
Mitchell Hooper is not the first person that I would take any sort of life advice from.
The responsibility is on you to help these people understand and to put safeguards in that they cannot do what they want to do because they don't understand the consequence. If you don't understand the consequence, how can you be responsible?
If you've never lived a life, how do you know what's going to go wrong as things happen to go wrong? You're supposed to take Mitchell's word for it. I listened to Mitch on the internet. I'm just not going to do anything because he told me not to. I bet Mitch has little pieces of styrofoam on all the sharp corners of in his house so he doesn't bump his own knee on those things and give himself a boo-boo.
Let's talk about how you can identify this in your kid, in your niece, in your nephew, in your friend, and your friend's kid.
Is this where you're going to talk about your own paranoia that you've experienced and maybe the things that it's caused you to do as a result from your high dosages of probably some very serious anabolic steroids?
It baffles me that people don't understand. So there's one thing that you need to do, And you will know every time. There's no hiding. Get blood work done.
Okay, true. Nice.
And there's one number that matters.
Well, that's already wrong, but let's see where he goes with this.
Parents, people who care about these younger people who are lifting, who might be influenced the wrong way. One number. What is your testosterone?
You've got to be kidding me.
I mean, it's one of the 4 numbers, but it's probably the least valuable number. I mean, anybody who just goes and takes 125 milligrams of testosterone could probably get by on a drug test depending on your body weight and your age and the way that your body metabolizes the testosterone. Some people could probably even get away with as much as 150 or 175 milligrams a week of testosterone and still get under that like 800-ish thing that would still be perceived as natural on a drug blood test. But he's saying that you just go get a blood test and you test for the testosterone, you can tell whether or not they're using. It's just completely false. You've got to look at the luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone, your T8, your LH, and your FSH. When those things are suppressed, it means that the testosterone that they are reading is coming in exogenously. If you have an 800 level of testosterone and your LH and your FSH are in the toilet, it means that this is not what's supposed to be there. Your body isn't making stuff over here. There's no signaling to create more testosterone. He could have even referenced estrogen if he wanted to, if your estrogen's all out of whack. But again, it's the LH and the FSH. Those are the 2.
Every little different compound that I'm not going to name because I don't want to give credence to them.
Huh?
They all will work to increase testosterone.
No. They won't. If you just take like an Anavar, it's not going to increase your testosterone. It's going to decrease it. It's going to suppress it. If you just take like a Dianabol or...
He doesn't even know how these drugs... Oh my god, that's insane. So he's giving a lecture on steroids and he literally doesn't even understand what drugs he's taking? The only steroid that's going to increase your testosterone is testosterone, because that's the hormone you're taking. Anything else isn't testosterone. Like I'm on Boldenone right now. If I get a blood test, like Boldenone isn't going to increase my testosterone. I just have Boldenone in my system. If you're on Anavar, it's not going to show up as testosterone on your blood work. You're just taking Anavar. It's not the same hormone.
A Masteron Primabol, and it's just going to crush your testosterone. That's why people use it in conjunction with those things that I just mentioned.
But let's just take something that totally wouldn't show up on that blood work and growth hormone.
I thought we weren't giving credence to the things that could be taken, but I suppose it's good that everyone now knows what you use and skirt your drug tests with, if they even drug test you.
Your child, unless you are a British aristocrat, cannot afford growth hormone. And if they think they're taking it, they're not. So they're not ruining themselves forever. They're just putting something into their body that's a bit stupid.
Oddly enough.
Presumably, if you're a teenage kid with like at least a part-time job, you could probably afford it if you put all your money into whatever steroids or drugs you're taking. If you're getting underground growth hormone, it's not that expensive. I'm spending about $450 a month on it. Like, if you are working 20 hours a week, you could probably afford that, assuming you're not spending your money on like anything else.
Enough, it's a bit stupid to be taking things that are on the black market. You'd want to be taking the pharmaceutical.
Do you wish you went on steroids in your early 20s? Not really.
Versions, the over-the-counter stuff that you know is legitimately what it is. Because what he's talking about here is black label growth hormone. If they think they're taking it, they're not. And I know where he's coming from here, but it's better to be out in the open about it and be sure that you're getting what you think you're getting, so that you aren't taking something that is something else. Chicks out there injecting the
Yeah, that's why there's third-party testing.
Alone thinking that it's primo because they thought they could get by with a little bit, but then it just happens to viralize the crap out of them.
The big elephant is, what is your testosterone? That's what's going to cause the major long-term damage. That's what's going to shut down their body. That's what's going to cause mood disorders. That's what's going to cause all of these horrible things that can happen.
No, you're half right, because if you're using testosterone at the age of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, it's not going to go well for you. You'll probably have to use it for the rest of your life. That's the sort of thing that he should be saying here. If you use it, then you're probably going to be screwed and unhappy at the ages of 25, 35, 45, unless you keep on using it and keep yourself.
Yes, why would you ever stop using?
Level, and you shouldn't use it at all at those ages.
I just genuinely don't understand people who think like this. Like, why would you ever stop?
probably something that he should be saying as well. But the real elephant in the room is a pro-hormone. Back in my day, the thing that a lot of people were using were called Andromass. It was a pill that you could literally get online. And those are the ones that are sticky and scary. They're like SARMs of the modern era. It's a pill you can take. People don't want to mess around with needles. Needles are scary. But a pill, I'll just pop a pill and before you know it, you got nipples. Giant, fluffy, puffy nipples. Because your estrogen's all out of whack, your body thinks it's going through puberty again as a female. Those are the ones that are going to screw you up forever. Those are the ones that are still going to suppress your testosterone levels, and those are the ones he's not mentioning.
You take your kid who seems muscular, who seems strong for his age, and go, we are getting your blood work tested, and that is not a choice. And you really only have to do it maybe once every 6 months, maybe once every 3 months.
Again, he's telling you all the good stuff right here because he's telling you go get your blood work done every 6 or 3 months. He's not saying that he does it, but he's recommending it kind of without telling you that he does it, he does it.
And guess what? If that kid gets offended, they're doing it.
Literally the only true thing that he said here. If you get offended, it's probably because there's something behind the curtain. And in this case, your kid's probably taking steroids if you want to take them to get their blood work done and they get all pissy.
This is...
I mean, how many kids don't want to go to the dentist? Like, I don't think that's suggestive of anything necessarily.
It's a fight worth picking, in my opinion, more than the fight of don't go to a party.
And I know so many more people, and sure, maybe this is my example of his Woodstock debacle, but I know so many more people who have had life-altering occurrences at parties and from drinking and from drugs than I do from having used anabolic steroids. I know plenty of people who have used and use anabolic steroids. All of them are still alive, and I can count on 2 hands the number of people who I know have died from freaking drugs and overdoses and stuff of that nature. Party things.
More than the fight of, don't skip class.
Yeah, listen to the lifelong exerciser. School's for fools.
I am as much.
There's no reason to take steroids unless you have low T levels. What justification do you have to continue taking them? That's like saying there's no reason to get a Ferrari unless you're a professional race car driver. You're a fucking retard. If you want to be a weak gay fag, then okay, go ahead. Some people want to be big and strong.
Just as I'm being dad right now to people, skip class. Go have fun with your friends.
Gonna make a phenomenal father, Mitchell.
School is nonsense. The entirety of it's ridiculous.
You imagine if this dude ran the world? No school, everybody just hang out, but don't do steroids. Actually, I did them, you know?
This absolutely shocks me when I went to the Olympia. And hopefully it can be clawed back in some small ways, but it seems to be headed in one direction. And one direction fast.
He brings it full circle. He goes right back to where this entire thing started at the Olympia. Everyone's taking stuff, and now the entire world must be doing so as well. Just like everybody at Woodstock, those uncleanly people in the masses who are there to enjoy music. Everyone must enjoy music, and everyone must not use soap and water. Over the course of this video, I talked about things such as testosterone messing with your hormone levels. If you want to use something that doesn't mess with your hormone levels, but is going to increase you at a foundational level, check out Biomax Peptides. I've made plenty of videos on that. They've got hundreds.
Yeah. I wonder if this guy's channel's gonna get taken down, because, yeah, a lot of people are getting their channels deleted for promoting peptide websites.
Hundreds of thousands of views at this point. People want to know what they are. They're all the rage at the moment. Best thing about...
Yeah, yeah. Especially the GLP-1 agonists.
You don't need to cycle them. They're gonna fix your joints, tendons, ligaments, make your skin better, make your hair better. Link to the Biomax website in the description below.
Russia has serious problems in Crimea. Ukrainian drone strike sets fire at Crimean oil depot for the 2nd time in a week. This is the Feodosia oil terminal in occupied Crimea. Ukraine successfully struck it last week. The terminal burned for about 3 or 4 days. Ukraine waited for the Russians to put the fire out. They then struck it again. And these pictures and videos online, I'll link them down below. But this looks like the end of days. This is a massive, massive oil depot fire. And there's nothing the Russians can do. This is the satellite image from last week after the first attack. In the first attack, Ukraine successfully got maybe 5 of the containers. But as you can see, there's still 5 over here. There's still 10 over here. So Ukraine went back to finish it off. At least 5 tanks hit. Ukrainian drones spark massive blaze at Russia's largest oil terminal in occupied Crimea. Here's the satellite firms data showing where the fire has spread. And yes, when oil leaks into water, this is the Black Sea, water can catch on fire. This is a massive, massive oil depot fire. Russia's largest oil terminal in occupied Crimea, still on fire 2 days after Ukrainian drone strike. This strike occurred 2 nights ago, and the fire is still going. It's still burning. Nobody knows when it will be put out. This is the video I found as of this morning showing that the oil containers are still ignited. They're still burning off. This is massive. So what's the good news for Russia? And that's a double rainbow. Rainbow, rainbow, with the oil depot fire in the background. Good job, Russia. 2 months later, Russia still can't clear a single destroyed train in occupied part of Zaporizhia. A Ukrainian drone strike on August 19th left a fuel convoy wrecked and the only railway in ruins. If you remember, this was 2 months ago. Ukraine used drones to strike a fuel car. This was in Zaporizhia. This was 2 months ago, and apparently the Russians have been unable to clear it. According to open source intelligence, satellite imagery from the Copernicus platform shows that the destroyed train remains lodged on the tracks. It is blocked, the only rail line in the Russian-occupied parts of Zaporizhia since the attack. So here's the railway map, and you can see, I think this fuel car was struck here. Ukraine did something to the track to get the fuel car to stop. They then launched drones to destroy the fuel car. This was a massive fire in Zaporizhia. And I'm guessing that Russia can't clear and repair the track because it's so close to Ukrainian-controlled territory. With fiber optic FPV drones, if Russia sends out repair crews, serious machinery, it's just going to get blown up. So effectively, Crimea and Kherson has been isolated from the rail network from Donetsk and Rostov-on-Don. Technically, I think the rail line for the Kerch Bridge is still operational, but when it was damaged 2 years ago, it wasn't fully restored, and it's not really safe to operate. So I don't think Russia sends heavy train loads over the Kerch Bridge anymore. But if Russia can't move fuel by rail, then they were reliant on ships. They were shipping oil to Feodosia to supply all refined oil products to the Crimean Peninsula, and probably also Kherson. So now that Ukraine has successfully cut off this rail link, the Kerch Bridge is still not 100%, and now they've destroyed the import terminal in Feodosia. This is going to make Crimea and the Kherson region run out of fuel. They're already running out of water. All agriculture has stopped. But now this part of the map, they can be resupplied with fuel trucks, but this just at scale is not efficient enough for the Russians. The shortages in these regions is going to get worse. It's never going to improve. These are the pictures and videos going viral online every day. And I do read the comments, and I'm getting comments from people saying, Jake, this is getting repetitive. In every video, you just keep showing the same thing. But yes, this is how we win, guys. This is going to play out slowly over months and months as Russia's reserves continue being depleted, and ordinary Russians wake up, and they realize how screwed their country is. Let me play this video for you. This is in Belgorod, once again showing a gas station that just got resupplied with cars lining up to fill up their tanks.
Яна, для тебя снимаю. Ты спрашивала, где есть бензин. Вот, есть тут, но проблема в том, что это вот все, это туда.
So whoever made this video added clown music, but yes, you can see all the cars in Belgorod lining up hoping to get their gas rations. In the relatively large city of Belgorod, its population is about 300,000 people. This Russian is in Moscow, and he has access to fuel, but he's upset about the price. He thinks that ordinary Russians are being screwed by private gas stations. So let me read for you what the average citizen of the capital city of Moscow now feels about these fuel increases. You know what, friends? I want to talk to the gas stations that are privately owned, like the URTK filling station we have in the Moscow region. With the current fuel shortage, these gas stations seem to have way too high an opinion of themselves, in my opinion. They have jacked up the prices. Why did you decide that you're such badass guys and can raise prices like that? Huh, I'm just curious. That's crazy. Why the hell are you raising prices like that when there is such a problem in the country now, that there is a fuel shortage? You know what problems this causes? Why are you profiting from this? Huh? You know that people will be forced to buy fuel at such prices. Shameless jerks. You need to be whipped, damn it. You should be lined up in front of your gas stations, have your pants taken off, be bent over, and be properly whipped in front of honest people. So this Russian man in Moscow wants to take off people's pants and whip them. Russia mulls price caps at gas stations. Expert warns of mass out-of-stock signs. There's all this talk about price controls. Russia's Federal Anti-Monopoly Service has been asked to impose maximum prices at gas stations as fuel shortages worsen across the country. This is according to the pro-government media outlet. But you can't do this. Alexander Talavera, professor of financial economics at University of Birmingham, told the Kyiv Independent that a price ceiling without subsidies could worsen the shortages, with refinery output constrained by Ukrainian strikes, forcing retailers, especially independent ones who buy on the open market, to sell below replacement cost would mass out-of-stock signs. Retailers and vendors are not going to sell at a loss. That's how you lose money and go out of business. So if they want to introduce price caps, then the Kremlin is going to have to offer subsidies to these retailers to compensate them for their losses. Or else they're just going to stop selling. If you're told to sell at a loss, you're going to hide your inventory. You're either not going to sell at all, waiting for the limits to go away, or you're just going to sell on the black market for an even higher price. This will just make things worse if Russia starts introducing price caps, which they could end up doing this by maybe January or February if they start getting desperate and the people start rioting. Going back to Crimea, this is actually critical. Here is the Rybar. This is a pro-Russian source showing the strikes on Feodosia. But Ukraine also struck a power station in the Crimean Peninsula. They struck the Tavary power plant, in addition to the Simferopol combined cycle power plant that supplies 25% of the electricity to the Crimean Peninsula. This is what we've been watching over the last 3 months. All of these drone boat operations to take out radars, take out air defense systems. Ukraine spent weeks, months, clearing the path to go after that oil terminal and to go after these power stations. Crimea is already not getting any additional fresh water. They lost the canals when they blew up the Novokakhovka Dam. So there's no agriculture happening on the peninsula. They're not growing food. They have water reserves that are running out. And now they're going to be without electricity. I think this is Ukraine's determined path. They're going to continue striking the energy infrastructure of Crimea until it's just impossible to live on the peninsula. Ukraine wants all the Russians who have relocated there to go back to mainland Russia. Get off the peninsula. This is the only video we have showing the Simferopol electrical substation on fire. It's clearly on fire in the distance. I can link this down below. In addition, Russia's Belgorod issues a blackout warning amid missile strikes and claims. Ukraine, I think, also is going to continue attacking the electrical infrastructure of the city of Belgorod. Once again, this is 300,000 people. But it's just too close. It's just too close to Ukrainian territory for the Russians to properly defend their energy infrastructure. In addition, Belgorod is effectively one large military base. The Russian military uses this city to resupply their frontline troops and launch attacks. Russia is still attacking in the Kharkiv region, trying to push deeper into Ukrainian territory. This is fair game. If you're a resident of the city of Belgorod, you're probably not going to have heat, electricity, or running water this winter. That's just where we are in the war, guys. And the Russians put out this crazy video. This is from the Ministry of Emergency Situations. And I'm going to play the entire clip. This is pretty hilarious.
Если ты услышал жужжание в небе, похоже на звук газонокосилки, и увидел силуэт примерно на высоте 100 метров, возможно, это беспилотный летательный аппарат. Срочно ищи укрытие. Это может быть любое здание, подземный переход или паркинг, или большое дерево, которое защитит вас от осколков или ударной волны. В квартире ни в коем случае не подходи к окнам. Осколки стекла могут поранить. Если ты находишься в здании, по возможности спустись на нижние этажи. Если ты в автомобиле и прямо перед тобой пикирует беспилотник, тогда останови автомобиль, покинь его и найди укрытие. При взрыве ложись на землю и закрывай голову руками. Не поднимайся после первого взрыва. Лучше аккуратно отползи или откатись в сторону. Ни в коем случае не распространяй фото и видео беспилотных летательных аппаратов в социальных сетях. Возможно, это поможет противнику выполнить корректировку и нанести удар заново. Запрещается при нахождении в непосредственной близости от упавшего БПЛА использовать радиосвязь, мобильный телефон или же устройство с GPS-навигацией. При обнаружении БПЛА ни в коем случае не прикасайся к нему или его частям. Они могут быть ядовитыми или взрывоопасными. Срочно покинь это место. Звони по номеру 112. Здравствуйте. При разговоре с дежурным сообщи ему полную информацию, время и место обнаружения БПЛА. Экстренную информацию об атаках БПЛА ты можешь получить в мобильном приложении МЧС России. Будь бдителен и осторожен. И помни, безопасность начинается с тебя.
This is all solid advice to survive a drone attack, but we've gone...
Would you rather only eat food from Frankie's free-range meat or give half your income to Blaha forever? I think I'd rather give half my income to Blaha. Heliac, donate $2. LMAO, sort the comments by newest. Check the newest comment chain. He mentions you in his latest comment saying you didn't dismantle anything.
This video...
Oh, fucking Pioneer. 10 months ago is... Oh, his latest comment. This is one of the most dishonest videos I've ever seen. You're either uneducated or purposely lying. So much nuance. Yeah. You're the fool. Steroids are well known to cause tendon injuries. They're not, because the muscle develops faster than the tendon. That's actually a complete myth. Your tendons actually remodel faster than your muscles. The problem is the amount of training volume you need to cause tendon remodeling is super, super small. And the amount of training you need to do to maximize muscle growth is very, very large. So what ends up happening is people, this even happens for natural lifters, you end up developing tendon issues because you're training well past the point in which your tendons have a stimulus to remodel, and you're actually causing damage to the tendon at that point, and your muscles keep growing. This even happens with naturals. I've had this issue personally with the like pec strains and shit. But steroid users may encounter this problem even more because the amount of volume you can do and benefit from it gets magnified that much more. But it's totally false. Your tendons actually develop and remodel faster than your muscles. It's just that the way people train generally, it ends up not mattering. And on top of that, steroids can actually help increase the strength of your tendons. Depends what you're taking, how you're balancing hormones like estrogen. And a lot of people are, like me, are also taking growth hormone as well, which also helps with tendon remodeling. Steroids increase fiber recruitment in the same way smelling salts or caffeine do. That's totally false. They have genomic and non-genomic effects. They turn up the volume. They don't increase precise muscle fiber recruitment in the way the learning does. Steroids improve motor learning. So people who take steroids, they're better at actually coordinating their movements. This is why men are just naturally more athletic than women. So, like, the skill of being able to watch somebody do something, like, let's say, throw a punch or a kick, if you're on steroids, you're better able to watch somebody do something and then replicate that movement, or do it yourself and then better perfect that movement and become more proficient with that movement. That's why a natural power lifter will lift more than a trained user. What the fuck is he talking about? This is just unhinged. I don't give a shit about dose. Even a small dose of TRT will cause fertility issues immediately. That's not true. Massive open pro bodybuilders conceive children when they're on like 3, 4, 5 grams of fucking gear. There's no evidence whatsoever that steroids actually cause infertility. Broderick Chavez has talked about this. About 10% of the general population has fertility issues, and about 11% of athletes have fertility issues. So it's like a negligible difference. Did you know that has various knock-on effects throughout the body? When the body senses the exogenous testosterone, it causes production. It causes production. Oh, sorry. It ceases production, and that affects sperm. This acts for a signal for a number of other processes. It doesn't. I bet you didn't, because again, blah blah. So, I have a vasectomy. Once you have a vasectomy, you don't release any sperm. And because you're not releasing any sperm, your body actually makes adjustments to sperm production. So by his reasoning, because my body doesn't produce sperm the way it normally does because I got a vasectomy, that should lower my testosterone or something. But when you actually look at the data, people who have vasectomies tend to have higher testosterone levels on average. He just makes shit up like a fucking retard. Clueless about this. Where does he mention me in any of these comments? I used to watch your channel a lot. You made great points before, but this video has made me question everything that I thought I learned before. Sorry, this video is so fucking retarded. I can't trust you about anything. I'm 46 years old, fought in the American Golden Gloves, and competed in Muay Thai multiple times. I'm on TRT now, around 200 milligrams a week. My test level sits around 1,300 nanograms per deciliter. I work part-time as a bouncer at a bar. I hit way harder now than I ever did as a natty. At 46, I bench 315 as well. Every side effect from steroids is dose dependent. More plates, more dates. Has proved this over and over again. Plenty of athletes, soldiers, cops, regular people are on some sort of gear. Like, this is just hilarious, dude. I love how he just made a video so fucking stupid. Everyone's like, buddy, I literally think you're a fucking retard, and I can't trust you on anything anymore. This guy's a fucking clown. I can't see where he actually mentioned me, but yeah, this guy's a fucking clown.
On over the last 4 years, from the Russians saying we're going to take the capital city of Kyiv in 3 days, to how to survive a Ukrainian drone attack. In this video, they gave the advice, do not go near windows, which is always fantastic advice in Russia. A lot of people die falling out windows in Russia. Other bad news for Russia. Technical failure forces Russian Black Sea Fleet submarine to surface in the Atlantic. NATO responds with a frigate surveillance. This is the Russian submarine, the Novorossiysk, and it's currently surfaced off the coast of France. It wasn't supposed to do this. There's something wrong with the submarine. According to Russian military telegram channels, they're reporting that the submarine's fuel system is damaged and leaking directly into the hull. There are no repair parts or qualified specialists on board, and the crew is unable to fix the malfunction.
Heliac Donatillers, he mentions you in his latest comment in Thirst reply chain.
This video was sponsored.
Thirst? You mean first? Is it the pinned? You just mean this? I didn't say they didn't work. I said don't measure performance on a single metric. On balance, they make you shittier. First of all, he didn't say that. He said they didn't work. And also on balance, they increase every single possible metric of athletic performance. They increase power output, strength, muscular endurance, cardiovascular, and aerobic endurance. They increase neuromuscular efficiency. Like marathon runners take testosterone, and a lot of them also take boldenone. Across every single sport, they're taking some sort of anabolic steroid. Even marathon runners. So like he's just wrong. But like, what the fuck are you talking about with? Vegan Gains did not dismantle anything, and I already told you why I didn't respond. I'm not going to make a video explaining something to one bloke. Yeah, so that's code for Vegan Gains is smarter than me, and I know he made me look like an idiot, so I'm just going to ignore him and hope it all blows over. You can just tell by the guy's replies that he's a salty fucking bitch. Like, this guy is a whiny, weenie little baby who can't handle any criticism. Fucking retarded. What a dork. Peleac Donatillers, I meant that the comment chain from SN sort by latest. You were on it earlier. Control F. Your name, you'll see it. Okay, well, I found it. Thanks for the donation, dude. How you feeling about Battlefield 6? The normal base game fucking sucks. If you play hardcore and you actually have a populated match, it's fucking great. It's amazing, but the normal game mode just sucks. They should have made hardcore the normal base game. If they did that, it would have been, like, almost perfect.
The serious accident has led to other problems. The fuel accumulated in the hull is an explosive hazard. The source...
Well, yeah, it's ridiculous. He'll spend time responding to people in the comments over and over and over again, but he won't make a video responding to me. Like, the guy's just clearly a lying coward.
Believes that the crew has no choice but to start draining the hull directly into the sea. So there's a fuel leak going into the hull, and the crew has to drain the hull so their submarine doesn't explode. Russian Navy denies technical malfunction, forced the submarine to surface near France. You can't believe something's true until the Kremlin denies it. But more than likely, this submarine is limping home. It's trying to make it back to Kaliningrad, but it's going to run out of fuel. So Russia's going to have to send out a fuel ship, or a repair crew, or a tugboat, or something.
Yeah, the campaign is pretty lame. I'm still probably going to finish the campaign just for, you know, whatever, but it's pretty a lame campaign.
But we're going to be able to laugh at this limping submarine probably for the next couple weeks. Russia is likely helping North Korea with their submarine development. This is according to South Korean intelligence. And yes, the North Koreans are desperate. So are the Russians. That's why they're helping North Korea. But if you're North Korea, do you really want to put your faith in Russia's submarine technology? This is what a typical Russian submarine looks like. This is what a typical Russian submarine looks like in Crimea. And even when Russia's trying to show off, this was the incident in the port of Havana, Cuba last year. Russia sent one of their submarines to try to intimidate the United States. And even their best submarine on parade is still missing acoustic panels. They can't properly maintain their own submarine fleets, and it's falling apart. Frontline reports, Ukraine's kill zone takes shape in the Sumy Oblast. Russians trapped in Yuna-Kivka say all hope is gone. In the comments section, people have said, Jake, why don't you give more frontline updates, frontline reports? And I just don't think anything significant has been happening. Yes, every Ukrainian soldier life matters. Every inch of territory is important. But big picture, nothing is moving. Nothing is really changing. If you want really good frontline updates, I recommend the YouTube channel Reporting from Ukraine. It's now called RFU News. But I can give you an example of what I see every day. Ukrainian assault units liberates Mali Shir-Cherbaki in southern Zaporizhia. So Ukraine retook this small village and they had soldiers holding flags. But let me show you on the map where this is. So here is Mali Shir-Cherbaki, and here's the map update. Let me share this map update with you guys. There it is. Do you see the map update? I can zoom in. You know, if you zoom in far enough, then a map update looks significant. But this isn't going to affect the outcome of the war. The fact that there aren't many map updates when Russia attacks every day, this actually shows that Ukraine is winning. Russia expends resources far greater than Ukraine. They lose way more soldiers than Ukraine. They attack every day. And they still are nowhere near close to getting the entirety of Donetsk 4 years into this war. They're not going to take Konstantinivka this year. They're not going to take Pokrovsk this year. They're not going to take Liman. They're not going to...
Would you go on an all-expenses-paid trip to North Korea for a week if you knew for sure you would leave unharmed? No, I don't think so.
Take Kupiansk. It's just a meat grinder. This is how bad it is for the Russians. They've stopped using tanks because they're running out of tanks. Russia's tank reserves are running out. Satellite data shows that out of 7,300 tanks stored before the war, only 92 T-72 tanks remain in decent condition. The others, thousands of them, these are T-64s, T-72s, and T-80s. They're just rusting after having been stripped for parts. This is the old Soviet stockpiles, 20,000 tanks in storage, and Russia's been cannibalizing the pieces and parts to keep their current tanks going, which all just eventually get blown up in Ukraine. And then there's the meat grinder. Russia is looking for additional tactics to keep jamming men into the meat grinder. And this is a report from Kremlin State TV about their new draft system. This went into effect on October 1st. Men of military age being conscripted are just going to get a message on their official government app, which they have to check all the time. And as soon as they're summoned for military service, they lose everything. Their passport won't work for them to leave the country. They can't drive. They can't take out loans. And they're basically a fugitive until they turn themselves in. And this is what they report on Kremlin State TV. If you're not an actor or rapper, it's becoming more difficult to avoid mandatory army service when it's due. What are we talking about? Today, the press reported that many men who received electronic summons on the Public Services app got the following message. Here, look, traveling abroad is prohibited. This new measure took effect on October 1st. Now, if you don't show up at the military registration and enlistment office after receiving an electronic summons, the restrictions will be imposed automatically. There are different restrictions, such as driving a car, obtaining loans, and what we just showed you about going abroad. You can remove these restrictions only when you personally come to the military registration and enlistment office well and fully repent. Repent
Jeez.
for not wanting to die for Tsar Putin. All hail Tsar Putin. What is Russia's strategy to win this war? And these headlines. Drone strike sparks massive fire at clothing warehouses in Odessa. The fire destroyed more than 5,000 square meters of warehouses containing fabrics, clothes, shoes, and sewing equipment. Russia just indiscriminately targets and blows stuff up, and they think they're going to win this war by depriving Ukraine of sewing equipment. They blew up a hummus factory in Kyiv last week. How is Ukraine going to win this war without hummus and sewing machines? It's all a tragedy, guys. I'm trying to make a joke here, but it's so comically stupid, and I understand there are civilians suffering, people who own these businesses. And that's really what Russia is doing, just trying to cause maximum indiscriminate bombing and killing, especially in the Kherson region. Anyone alive, any car that moves. And I'm happy, guys. I'm happy that the hostage...
Greg's armpits, Stony Chillers, hey VG, let's all point fingers and laugh at these clowns, little fucking retards, man.
Sir, we're looking for the baby technology. Do you know where he has the baby? You have the latest baby technology, sir?
Oh my god. Jeez.
How does the word Palestine make you feel, sir?
We're just trying to... I just want to enjoy sitting down with my fiancé.
Well, sir, the children in Palestine would like to say they could enjoy dinner. You look like you're free Palestine. With those curls, you're too pretty.
That guy's attention-seeking dipshit.
Stand with genocide. We just want to get...
Yeah, you know, I'd probably want to knock
Here's
him
from
out.
Palestine.
Palestine don't like queers.
We're queers for Palestine.
Try that over there. Try that over there.
What's your stance on Palestine, buddy?
My stance on them shorts need to go.
That's my boyfriend. You leave my boyfriend alone.
I hate that guy. If only somebody would just knock their teeth out. Thanks for the donation, Greg's armpits.
Messages were released by Hamas. I'm glad that humanitarian aid is getting into Gaza. I want to see the dying and the fighting stop. I hope there is resolution. I hope there is peace. Anything positive that Donald Trump did? Great. I hope he does more of it. We need more pressure and better diplomacy to prevent wars, but stop the current ones. So this is what Ukraine and Zelensky is focused on this week, because we're trying to build momentum in Trump's mind. Zelensky urges Trump to broker Ukraine peace. Okay, so there's a Ukrainian delegation going to Washington, D.C. this week to meet with lots of people. Zelensky and Trump confirmed plans to meet in Washington on Friday. So we're getting another Oval Office meeting. Trump's in a good mood because he's happy about Gaza and Israel. So I think Zelensky sees this as an opportunity. What does Zelensky want? And of course, he wants Trump to announce at the White House on Friday Tomahawk cruise missiles. Now, I don't think this is going to happen, so don't get your hopes up. And this really is just from a logistics reason. The Tomahawk is a sea-launched cruise missile. Yes, a couple years ago, the Army adapted it for ground launch. But how many batteries of trucks exist in the United States Army? And there's two. There are two batteries of trucks capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles. Do you really think the U.S. Army is going to give these up, sell them to Ukraine for use against Russia? There are other launchers that have been designed, but none of these have been used in real-world combat. For the U.S. military to give these to Ukraine and expect them to succeed with them, it's a long shot. It's still possible. Trump is very irrational, and if on Friday he demands the U.S. Army send a truck to Ukraine to launch Tomahawks, then we'll take it. We won't ask questions. But I think Zelensky, more than actually getting tangible deliveries, this is about propaganda. Zelensky wants to make himself as close to Trump as possible to drive a wedge between Russia and MAGA. I think Zelensky is very smart and he understands the politics, and he knows that the information war being fought, we can't have MAGA and the Russians getting along, cooperating. Ideally, we want them fighting with each other. So Zelensky is willing to say and do anything to make Trump like him. And he's actually been very effective the last couple months. Trump hasn't been attacking Ukraine, and Trump has been saying nice things about Zelensky and Ukraine. And this is reflecting in the polling data. Republican support for arming Ukraine increased.
Seeing the rich guy that crashed his rare Gimbala GT in New York into the back of a minivan while intoxicated, then keeps trying to drive it away? No.
Increases as Trump weighs Tomahawk shipments. This is a Harvard-Harris poll that was conducted this month. The survey found that 73% of Trump voters believe the United States should provide weapons to Ukraine and impose sanctions on Russia. So when Trump is attacking Zelensky and Ukraine, Republican support goes down. He wants. Trump calls on Congress to investigate 2019 hoax impeachment over Ukraine. This was the phone call between Trump and Zelensky that led to Trump's first impeachment. And I think Trump wants something. He wants Zelensky in the White House to say that Joe Biden was a terrible president and it was a perfect phone call. Trump did nothing wrong. Trump has always been amazing and the best. And if that's what Zelensky has to do to get additional help, he's going to do it. And I support it. At this point, guys, Zelensky should just say and do whatever he can to manipulate Trump, because this is what Trump wants.
Yeah.
Ever. Months, even going back 2 years, to when Trump was blocking military aid, and Ukraine lost the city of Avdiivka because of that. And Trump was dumb enough to say this. Trump says Witkoff had no idea about Russia and wasn't too interested before starting peace negotiations. Trump is in Israel, and he was rambling in a speech, and he was dumb enough to admit this to everybody.
We'll get that one. But I set up a meeting for him to meet with President Putin, thinking it would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. Steve had no idea about Russia, had no idea about Putin too much, didn't know too much about politics, wasn't that interested. He was really good at real estate, but he had that quality that I was looking for.
So Trump says that Steve Witkoff didn't know anything about Putin, didn't know anything about Russia, and wasn't interested in politics. And that is who Trump sent to go negotiate and end the war.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds like something Trump would do. Jesus.
Warning. All right, next question I got here from Joseph A. Joseph asks, from your personal experience, which two compounds, whether anabolic steroids or peptides, seem to create the most synergy together, aside from the classic HGH and insulin combination? What kind of results or effects have you seen with those compounds when they are used correctly? I mean, I don't know that HGH and insulin are the epic combination, but I honestly find that testosterone and GH are the you know, kind of the baseline of performance enhancement. And it seems like a lot of guys are scared to run GH. And look, I get it. It's sort of had a lot of mystery and legend and just bro myth that surround the dangers of HGH use. We have a lot of long-term data on it now that shows that it's really not that dangerous if you are intelligent with it. It's probably, out of the compounds that we take, besides testosterone, it's probably the safest thing that we can take. So we have a baseline of growth hormone and HGH, and we're really hitting two different pathways here. Testosterone is the core male hormone that's present in our body, and it's going to convert to DHT and estrogen, and is essential to basically being a man. It's important for growing muscle. And growth hormone, we are hitting a different pathway here. We have the IGF-1 pathway, and most men that are over 40, 35 or 40 are severely deficient in HGH. And you could see the changes in the bodybuilding community. Before guys used growth hormone, before athletes used growth hormone, there really were not many people that were successful in bodybuilding or professional sports past their late 30s. It just didn't happen. And I don't think it's a coincidence that that's when GH typically declined on a rapid, declined rapidly. I mean, we could see it. And it seems, just anecdotally speaking, that GH declines before testosterone does. I've seen 60-year-olds with high testosterone levels, but most guys over 40 have non-existent growth hormone levels. So that would make sense to supplement those two together, and they synergize well because they are the bioidentical hormones that are key to being a vital human being, a man, basically. Now, outside of that, as far as performance enhancement goes, you already mentioned the GH and insulin. They are counter-regulatory hormones, and they do have a synergy. They work well together. We already know about that. One of the other ones I find that works really well, and you can ask any bodybuilder that does contest prep, is Tren and Clen. If you want to rapidly change body composition, there really is no more efficient way, at least I haven't seen it, to rapidly change body composition than Tren and Clen. They just work really well together. They synergize really well. Tren is very effective at changing body composition. Clenbuterol is a very effective fat burner. In my opinion, still probably the king of fat burning compounds that we have, although there's some compelling new stuff out with all the peptides that we have now. Those are both compelling. Now, when it comes to the strength portion, you can ask any powerlifter. Powerlifters fucking love Anadrol and Deca. Anadrol and Deca are like apple pie and ice cream. They go together well. If you want to be big, bloated, and strong, run some Anadrol and Deca. Those two, along with some testosterone or whatever. But that's sort of the powerlifting combo. And there's some interesting stuff going on with the peptides now. I've seen some pretty radical changes in body composition with guys this year running retatrutide, MOTS-C, and SLU-PP332. I will be honest with you, I was pretty skeptical of all three when they first came out. I probably was one of the guys that was in the column of I'm not really sure about this stuff a year ago. And what I have seen this year is people that have been resistant to fat loss, especially people that really struggle with losing weight, that combination seems to have busted people past plateaus. Now, that's not to say they don't come with downsides and potential problems. We really don't know what the long-term effects are of using these things. Right now, we don't have long-term data on it. We assume that it's pretty safe, and on paper it seems like it's safe, and it might be better for you than running heavy doses of, say, trenbolone and stimulants. But we just don't know right now. I will say this, I have seen some pretty radical changes in body composition in guys that couldn't lose fat before getting lean, even without doing cardio. It's pretty fucking wild with the exercise mimetic, the mitochondrial enhancer combined with the GLP-1, which is going to suppress appetite, improve insulin sensitivity, yada, yada, all the downstream effects of the GLP-1s. Now, I do have some long-term concerns about gastric emptying with the GLP-1s. Guys that tend to be in shape, they get in shape easily. Old school bodybuilders, guys that have a lot of muscle mass, they don't seem to need these. If you're a guy that can get in shape, like I'm sure I could, I've had no problems myself getting ripped, just not even really using clenbuterol, just even running just regular anabolics and just following a diet and doing some cardio. But not everybody's like that. Some people are metabolically damaged. Some people need help. But those are new, interesting combos. But, I would say like probably the baseline of performance enhancement, the best combo, the one that synergizes excellently, and probably the starting point would be Test and GH. Outward from there, I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff, but I just mentioned a few. Some of the new peptides.
All right. I'm going to go to bed. I don't want to stay up too late and mess with my sleep schedule again. But hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. Clarence is going to come over tomorrow, which will be the 16th. So on Thursday, I'll probably be doing some stuff with Clarence. We're going to be doing some live streams together and shit. And I will be getting my new belt squat Friday as well, which is going to be sick. We'll probably, since Clarence is going to be here, we'll probably do a live stream setting up the belt squat and shit. So that'll be cool. But hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. And as always, keep making those vegan and steroid gains. And yeah, I'll probably do another workout stream tomorrow morning. I'll try to do it in the morning. I do have to get groceries and shit. But I'll try to start a workout stream as early as I can. And, but in any case, I will be on tomorrow. And Clarence will be here Thursday, and we're going to do a bunch of shit. But thanks again, everybody. Sweet dreams. Oh, Sir William donated $2. Let me see. Dude, you have to be out of your fucking mind to get into that bad of an accident with that car and think you can just fuck off. Well, that's what happens when you're the right combination of rich and stupid. That is crazy. Well, thanks for the donation, Sir William. All right, well, nighty-night, everybody. Sweet dreams.